What is going on, everybody? This is the 14th and maybe the most hype episode of the Dragon Ball Legends podcast we've had to date. Quick audio check. Everyone in chat, just let me know that you can hear everything. And Pomzor, go ahead and take the floor for the introductions.
All right. Thank you, Naz. And welcome, everybody, to Dragon Ball Legends podcast episode 14. Meme time is over. And strap yourselves in. This is going to be a wild one. And it's also going to be a bit longer. Before we start, you all remember that we had the fan-made Zenkai version 1. And we have a form out on our Twitter for episode number 2, this time Vegeta family. So after the podcast, go check out our Twitter, fill out the form with your ideas for a Vegeta family Zenkai, and we will make that into a video. And with that said, let's have a look at all our guests. Today, we have a few first-timers and some special guests. We're going to start. We are joined by number 1, Bebop.
Oh, what's going on, guys?
Hey, we have Brad.
What up?
And the second time on the podcast, D Free.
Yo.
The first time today, or the first time ever actually on the podcast, Dr. Mald.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
We have a returning guest, Dragon Ball Joe.
Hey, guys.
We have the best boxer, Goresh.
Hello, everyone.
Our producer, Nasdarachi.
How's it going, everybody? I'm going 14 hours strong live on Twitch. Woohoo!
Iha, we got the Sensei Professor.
Hello. Oh, wait, yeah, I pressed it. Hello.
We have Super Saiyan 3 Ryuden.
What's going on, guys?
And we got Beerus Rhyme Style. What's up?
I hate Bebop.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right, so the topics for today, we're going to talk obviously about the new units. We're going to talk about the step-up banners and the new system. We're going to discuss whether having 3 LFs within a month is healthy or not. There is some speculation with the Broly story event revamp, so maybe Red Broly's getting a Zenkai. We're going to talk about top grossing, and then we're going to go over to questions. The first topic today is obviously Gogeta Blue. I mean, there were memes for 2 years, and now he's finally here. Ryan, what do you think of the unit?
I think they're great. I think they're actually really, really good. So I'm pretty sure we're going to talk about this, but I saw Game Press posted their tier list, and they put them in tier 1 for both of them. And I think if they set them like if it was like 7 stars, it would be like low S tier. I think that's perfectly okay. Like, the thing about Legends is when Vegeta came out, he literally broke the game. He made the game unfun to play just because of how you could farm basically Rising Rushes. You know, he kills you. Either he kills you or Rising Rush kills you. It made the game unfun. Obviously, you had the balance changes that came out back in like October, November, which allowed you to do double cover changes, and also they nerfed Rising Rush, which made the game way more fun. And at the state that they released Broly and Gogeta, I think it's great. Like, I want units to be good, but I don't want them to be broken and just not enjoyable, because we had that a couple times in the last 2 years. I mean, remember Name It Goku when he first came out? It made it like Name It Goku was so good they literally had to change the game. So I think at the state that they came out, you know, I saw people were criticizing that, oh, we waited 2 years and this is it. It's like, I think they're great. They're fine for what they are.
Oh, I have to 100% agree. Like, all the LFs lately, they've been super premium without just completely ruling the meta, and I've been very happy with that.
Yeah, I think because a lot of people are comparing these guys to like Zenkai 7 Gohan and stuff, and it's just like not fair to do that. I feel like it's because like I think I say this every single time a new unit comes out these days, where I actually think these guys are designed perfectly, and the culprit are the Zenkai units because they're just way overtuned. And these guys aren't.
Also specify not just Zenkai units, but like obviously 18, Purple Goku, and Gohan are just that much better than the other Zenkai units. So really, we're just looking at those guys and then looking at anything that's coming out, and we're just like, this kind of sucks. But it doesn't suck. Like, I'll tell you right now, like when I first heard that Goku was coming out, because obviously I shot the video and stuff before Black Friday, I was like, oh shit, this is just about to not be fun, because Toshi kind of told me, oh yeah, he dodges everything. I'm like, well, this is going to break the game. And I was literally worried for like 3 weeks before that came out, only for it to come out and be like, wow, this is actually very balanced. This is good. This is good for the game's health. It's very good for the game's health.
Yeah, I think I remember Prof being the same way, where the day before he released, he was very unhappy about the unit, and then when he came out, he actually retracted everything.
Oh, well, you tell me that the unit's going to have a double dodge in general. It doesn't have to automatically happen, and I'm going to be like, no, sir. And then now the way it was phrased, I could leave my tablet on my table, go get a glass of water, come back, and Goku's still winning the fight. But that's not it at all, and that's what I'm happy about.
Yeah, they've designed these units with specific strengths and very noticeable weaknesses. I mean, of course, those get less noticeable when you get them, with plenty of red stars on them. But for most players, I think that's intended to be a long road, not something that's necessarily done, this first week that the units have come out. So with Zenkai's, yes, the problem has already been mentioned, but these units are coming out with, again, very good, well-balanced passives, very good stat distribution to set up some very good counterplay. Like, it's just hilarious, the fact that the EX base form red Gogeta can manhandle the yellow Gogeta blue. Like, just because that's a sign that there's good balance. You have some characters that excel in some areas, some counterplay. And, again, besides Zenkai, everything's pretty well done at this point.
It is kind of funny to me that people really wanted these to be mega busted, but let's be real. If they were broken, if they were what Vegeta Blue was at launch, we would not be having fun with the game. I feel like we'd be more upset that they were too broken than they are how they are right now.
I agree. I think because people are always like, "Oh, I wonder if Purple Bro is going to get a Zenkai," and it's like the same people who are asking for that were also the same people who were complaining about Vegeta Blue when he came out. So it's like you don't know what you want at this point.
Yeah, people need to be
catchphrase.
careful what they wish for.
That's a catchphrase for the community. Not really sure what we want, but we want to be outraged.
Well, I feel like a lot of people really want these Zenkais just because they're guaranteed units rather than trying to summon for the LFs. So I can understand why people would want Zenkais to be good, but there's no reason why Zenkais need to be on the level of 18 and LF Gohan again.
Yeah, I think they just went a little bit crazy with those two units because they really liked them and they were testing the waters. They weren't really sure what they were doing, but I feel like hopefully moving forward, they have a better grasp on the overall situation, right?
Like, I think the way they did the last couple of Zenkais were great. Who was it? Bardock? Who else came out next to Bardock? It was like
Broly?
the
Green
Broly.
Broly.
I think
Gogeta.
Blue
and
Goku.
Bardock. Gogeta and Bardock. I mean, Blue Goku. And Namagoku. That's what I was thinking of. Bardock and Namagoku specifically, I feel like aren't too busted. They're what Zenkai should be. Because it's like they bring them back to the point where they're very usable in the meta, but they're not like units that you worry about. You see Gohan pop up, like literally you can just feel your balls go up your stomach, like, oh fuck,
No, Gohan's that one dude that's on a random team, and you run into that team, and it's like it's maybe the worst player ever, and you're still gonna get destroyed because the Gohan is just so damn powerful.
That's 18 also.
Yeah, 18 too. Just freaking shred you to pieces if you make one mistake.
Yeah, honestly, 18 has made androids literally like top tier teams to be run.
See, here's the messed up part. Since 18 was Zenkai, I have fought one singular 18, so I don't know anything about 18.
Really?
I don't know why. I've literally run into only one 18 since she was Zenkai.
You're being spared.
You're
man.
lucky.
I know.
Yeah,
I know. That's what I'm.
Yeah.
I've seen her in action. I've seen what she does. I think just because, like, when it comes down to specific teams, it is one of the more lesser popular teams to run. Whether it be female warriors or you're running just androids. Like, yeah, you're not really running those units. But
wait till you run into Hercule and 18 duo. That's fun.
My god, with Kefla.
Wow.
Yeah,
It's like we're complaining about powerful units. Paralyze is still a thing. Hercule is still out there. Can you imagine if they ever just decided to introduce Hero Zenkai and then make Hero Hercule even better?
well, that's the end of this conversation.
They're gonna Zenkai him into an extreme unit.
Well,
I just find
technically,
it
when
funny, looking back, how we used to be like anti-faint and Paralyze has always been there in the game. I think amongst everybody, me and D-Fay were always like, yo, Paralyze is still a thing. But it was like,
I was
faint,
talking
faint,
so
like, no.
much trash. Everybody was complaining about freaking faint. I'm like, dude, the problem isn't faint. It's freaking paralyzed. Paralyzed is cancer, dude.
Yeah, you don't even know when it comes, and then it hits you 3 times in a row.
Oh my god!
I think people were complaining about it at the peak point where Gotenks had 100% faint because his ult was glitched. So we were my god, what is this?
Paralyze is also
the fact that thing was more guaranteed. Paralyze, when it happens, you might just get lucky. Of course, when I paralyze somebody, it never activates.
Yeah,
like,
that's
all right.
that's what I was about to say. Like, it's a double-edged sword because when you're playing against it, it always ruins your plans. But then when you're the one using it, it never activates in your favor half the time. So
I just hate seeing Android 18, Kefla, and Hercule. I'm like, I think I'm gonna forfeit. This is no fun.
I had one of those in my video like yesterday or something. I was like, the whole time I was just talking mad trash. I was like, dude, this is such garbage. It's just you don't want to run into that team because it's so like the Hercule paired with any like unit like 18 or anybody that can just shred you like that. It's too oppressive because he'll just freaking faint you paralyze you nonstop, and they'll just rip you to pieces in 2 cards.
It doesn't help that like any other situation when you face it, you're like, because the person just runs right at you with a strike card, you're like, if this was any other situation, this would be a no-brainer, but I'm stuck with this idiot paralyzing me.
Don't forget the fact that he has a lock-in, dude. Like, listen, man. Obviously,
no, you don't talk.
Here we go.
Yeah, Bob, you're the one that introduced this meta. Yeah, you made the team. And everyone's running it now.
And I'm proud of it. Listen, man, that lock-in comes in clutch, all right? You lock him in, that's it. You get any unit out.
I'm gonna
Sub count down, too. That dude is busted, man.
I'm happy you didn't get Broly now.
I equate that Hercule to unplugging your friend's controller because you don't even have the option to fight. You don't have the option to dodge the attack that paralyzed you. You just sit there and take it. And that Hercule, since you don't actually care about his stats, he's internal. He's not going to be power crept up because he never cared about his power. He's got to lock in an instant paralyzed. GG.
Yeah, I think that's the
Rising Rush by Hercule because the guy's like, "Oh, I beat you down so much, I may as well Rising Rush you with Hercule because I lost to it." I lost to that before. I'm like, that just happened. I think I'm hanging it up. I'm done.
I just hate how when paralyzed kicks in, I immediately try to switch out, and the second I even try, I just get paralyzed. I swear to God, when I paralyze somebody, it never activates.
See, no, usually whenever I see Hercule, if I'm running my God Key team, I always start with Super Saiyan Blue, the Zenkai one, because he's got the immunity. So then you just rush him. That's the best way to do it.
And Beerus too.
People start pairing Hercule with the new Frieza so they can take your immunity off.
No, you just gave everyone an idea.
That was gonna be my next video. I'm not gonna lie.
It's actually coming to my channel too. Actually, funnily enough, I've already got the video done.
How to counter the Hercule meta? I think we digressed a little bit.
Yeah.
So what are your favorite teams to run Gogeta Blue on, guys?
Hercule and 18.
All right, I'm done with Crash now.
I have 2 specific ones. They're not the most optimal, but it fits. UI Goku, Broly, and Gogeta fit because you get basically all the cover changes. Either Ki Blast you can get out with UI Goku, and of course you got the strike counters with Gogeta and Broly. But the other one that I like right now, it's evil, going back to Paralyze, is Frieza, Gogeta, and Broly. Fuck that green card, man.
Green card is we're gonna talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah, Frieza's ridiculous.
Yeah,
he should be because LOE sucks.
Frieza's like insane. Like he's so good.
Yeah, there's an argument that he's the best of the 3.
Yeah, see, I just didn't want to say that, but I agree.
Oh, I was gonna say that when the topic came up.
Like Frieza's insane. So
yeah.
I like running Gogeta, Broly, and the Zenkai Red Gogeta with a full General Saiyan's bench. I have the Z7 Namek Goku, Zenkai Super Saiyan 3, but I don't ever use him because he's only Z1. And then who's the third that I have on the bench? Oh, the D Free knows the LF Super Saiyan 3 Goku just for the double defense.
Trash incarnate.
Oh my God, let's not start, please.
But
I'm trying to end the year on a W. Let's go to the new year of positivity.
Unfortunately, I only had him at 2 stars, right? So I needed a little bit of an extra beefy bench, and the General Saiyans was able to provide that for me a little bit more than movies. So that's where I've been. And then the Zenkai Red Gogeta is crazy good. So
my answer to the question was actually movies, but I'm gonna actually kind of just amend that and say I actually really like Broly, like specifically on Powerful Opponent. Like him and Jiren is ridiculous.
Yes,
I enjoy that team so much.
Oh yeah,
that team is really fun. So that's it for me.
Even if you scuff that up a little bit and run Gogeta on there too, between Jiren and Gogeta, you have 2 units that can nullify all cover changes for Jiren can do it twice and Gogeta can do it 3 times. So with that team that way, I mean, even with just Jiren, but with that team with both of them, you never have to worry about getting cover changed on almost.
Yeah, I love that set.
Yeah, I like using him. I like throwing him on God Key of Vegito, Gogeta of autos.
Yep. Exactly. That's exactly what I was gonna say. Well, just him and Vados alone, dude. Like that's already enough damage and healing. Like he already gains 10% just for coming into battle. So with Vados, that's already like doubled,
Yeah,
and
the
he gets a
guy.
lot of buffs. And once you land that green card, dude, like you practically win. Like whoever you got that green card off, like it's over.
Yeah, VP
If
giving
you
that
get the card
guaranteed
off.
green, and the heal from Vados, and because the guy can't really take much of a hit. I mean, if you kind of cut down their combo a little bit by killing 2 of their cards, it's more manageable. It's pretty
I
good.
actually,
Can
I
just
actually am a.
shout out?
Oh, go ahead.
Just quickly, can I say shout out to everybody that actually summoned for the Vados banner? 'Cause everybody
Yeah.
was like,
Oh.
Vados
Yes.
come. I'm like, no, don't skip them. They're good.
Yeah, they're really good.
Yeah.
Honestly, I prefer my like 7-star Vados over my 14-star Zenkai 7 Beerus straight up. Like
The funny
I
one-
tell everyone, I'm like, Beerus is just died. Beerus has died off, man. His damage isn't where it used to be anymore.
Funny thing about that
I
banner.
agree with that. I think Beerus is still very good.
Yeah, the funny thing about that banner, I think, is that that banner came out right before the battle system change, and Champa just got like way better after that.
Yeah. That battle system change impacted Champa so drastically with his unique ability to sub count down allies. Like that's ridiculous.
You got a battle system, Zenkai.
Yeah, I felt like they starting at the anniversary because the Trunks, his extra I can come in here and dodge the Rising Rush stuff. These abilities felt so weird. I feel like they knew this change was coming ever since the second anniversary or before then, because these units all got better with that change.
Probably
That's
might
one
have been
thing
in the
that
works.
I like about Zenkais. I know the whole Zenkai thing is taboo to talk about, but like if you think about it, almost everything at Zenkai is still very much usable to this day. Like the only Zenkai I can think about that people probably forgot about is 16, but even 16 is still good.
What?
If he blows
Vegeta.
up,
You
you're
need
done.
to, you need to revisit Vegeta and Goku, man.
Vegeta is trash.
Yeah.
Purple Vegeta is only bench. Like that's
Scouter one.
Brian probably forgot. Yeah.
I never used Zenkai that.
I want to start maybe, and we don't have to go too long on this, but to start a potentially heated debate of the two. Which one do you guys think has the better LF animation?
Broly.
Gogeta.
Gogeta.
Free.
Gogeta, straight up.
Dude, I'm a Broly fan with you, Raiden, but Gogeta just look, even if you don't land the LF, you just want to sit back and watch it, you know?
I just like how he runs on air and it stomps. Just do.
I just think
them away.
See, I prefer Gogeta's animation way more than Broly's, but Broly's ult has two purposes. One, you're either going to kill, or two, you're switching him out and you're getting your vanish back, which is major for him. Like his ult really works well with his kit.
See, that's why I think they're both very good, and like the whole talk that just because Game Press didn't put them in Z tier, that they automatically suck is stupid. Number one, tier lists are always supposed to be opinions. They don't decide whether or not a unit is good. Like, because I mean, didn't also Game Press say that Vegeta Blue is like tier 1 now? Yeah, what anyone says, Vegeta Blue is still one of the best units in the game, even with the new battle system change.
Yeah. I think they evaluate their tier list based off him being like 2 or 3 stars, which is nowhere near representative of him when you have him at like 9 stars, right?
Right. Well, they also look at everything else. They look at also the teams, the metas, and everything. So like their tier lists are good. They make sense for why they are the way they are. But again, they don't 100% decide that a unit sucks because it's not in a specific tier.
Yeah, another person's opinion of the unit shouldn't take away from your enjoyment of them.
Yep.
I can still 100-0 people with LF Kid Goten, and he's not even on the tier list now.
Yeah.
They just deleted him from the game.
Oh yeah, tell me about not being on the tier list anymore.
Isn't he the last one on the tier list?
Yeah, they're thinking of icing tier 3 or 4 or something. Oh, I've never felt so much pain.
Don't worry, he'll get his Zenkai and then he'll be
but then everyone's gonna get mad at me. They're like, they did this for you and he's broken. I'm like, what?
That's how I legitimately feel about this new Frieza for Garesh. Toshi was like, nah, this is for Garesh. And that EX Frieza, what the hell is that dude? He's definitely for Garesh.
Oh,
dude, people for Purple Super Saiyan 3. I'm like, bro, it's the wrong one.
I was actually in disbelief when that EX Frieza got a Zenkai. I was like, what? Like, he's literally just killing everybody.
Yeah, he's so good.
His blast damage is unreal.
Well, it's very real. Like people that are taking, we got Gohan running around. Is it that bad that this Frieza's hitting that hard? I like this stuff.
I mean, if you only have
I
one
like it.
option for a hard blast hitter, that's kind of bad, right? So it's good to have variety in different teams.
I mean, I guess the thing that makes that EX Frieza Zenkai just good is he's free, so everybody can get him. So there's no reason why people can really why people don't have him. You know, like if you have a good LOE team and you want that extra damage with him, he helps the team the best that he can. I mean, he's better than Zenkai Cooler.
They just have such ridiculous synergy together. I feel like LOE is the most like consciously designed team in the game.
It's also one of the hardest to make because they release an LE unit once every 6 months.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they don't have much to go by. They should use Garesh's list that he tweeted to me. It was every Zenkai, every version of Frieza that had ever existed in the entire show.
Yeah, that's it. Just release them all at once.
I also feel like every time an LOE unit does come out, it like everybody knows about it for the next 3 months because of how good they are.
Yeah.
Like when
Or
LF
Zenkai
Frieza
Cooler.
came out, LF Frieza wasn't like the best LF, but man, he made LOE just ridiculous, having the double blue card, or I guess a second blue card, and on top of his cover change and his like he was exactly what LOE needed. Wasn't that broken?
Yeah.
But together as a team, it was just really annoying to deal with.
Yeah.
He was like
the
the
Zenkai
support
Cooler.
they needed.
Yep.
Plus, he's always going to be good. Like, people still run that Bunny Bulma because she holds a blue card and she sucks.
Or
Yeah.
Hercule.
No Bunny Bulma slander will be allowed. Thank you.
I mean, well, she like objectively doesn't suck because of the fact that she holds the blue card, but she just sucks.
Hey.
Besides that, right? Everything else.
Hey.
about her is
You know
bad.
how busted her Zenkai will be?
Yeah.
She has such an outstanding baseline. You know how busted that Zenkai is going to be? Just watch out.
My favorite joke is Gogeta Blue will come out, be the best unit in the game, and then Bunny Bulma Zenkai is going to dethrone Gogeta Blue.
No, just a real anti-meta unit I want right now is Zenkai Chi-Chi.
GG.
Yeah.
I definitely made that joke as a past. I was like, yo, Toshi, you should just do Zenkai Chi-Chi, give her 200% against Sun Family. Now, here's the question. If something like that actually happened, 200% against Sun Family, would anybody care? Because we all hate Sun Family so much. And I feel like no one would want to use Chi-Chi anyways. How would y'all feel about
nobody could complain about that when Hercule exists.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I think that Rhyme has a good point there that her popularity will outweigh her usefulness, and she's not something you're going to run into in PvP frequently enough for it to be a problem.
But I also feel like if they had a 200% anti-Sun Family Zenkai unit, it would kind of slow down people from wanting to use Sun Family.
No, I won't, because you won't see that. You won't see that team ever.
I was gonna never forget when Purple Goku first came out, Super Saiyan 3, and nobody used Regen at all, just because of one unit.
Yeah.
We went from every other fight was Regen to the second Black Friday happened. Not a single person used Regen.
Same thing happened with Vegito Blue.
Yeah.
That dude nuked Regen.
And PyCon.
No, my favorite meme for that red PyCon that came out is just Vegito Blue one-shotting him with the ult.
Listen, that guy is Z tier. If it wasn't for Vegito Blue, it's like Scooby-Doo. If it wasn't for that meddling Vegito Blue, he would have been tier 1 Z tier, number 1 unit in the game.
So back to new units.
Yeah, we got way too sidetracked.
I personally think the Frieza is like slightly better than the other two. I personally, when I come across like a Frieza, it's just so annoying to play against. But with the other two, if you can drop combo, then the defenses aren't that bad. So you can sort of wheel their health down. But the Frieza is just so annoying. So
no, the Frieza does too much. The key down, the removal of buff. Like no character is immune to his paralysis because of the stupid green card. The green card's full screen. He does too many things. And his damage in and of itself is really good. His freaking blue card has blast armor, even though the ult doesn't, which is kind of weird. But like he does everything, like everything you would want in a unit, and all the debuff, guard, draw speed. He's insane.
I think he's so annoying to play against.
He has a really high level of knowledge too.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, we'll let Bebop take it. It is his topic.
Yeah, because it also does Bebop's favorite thing, paralyze, right, Bebop?
Oh my god,
sir. Listen, man, like you guys are saying, man, like this, I think he was like one of the better units, honestly, like we all said earlier, like, you know, this guy has everything that LOE needed, like, you know, the paralysis and everything. Of course, I'm pretty hype about that, but besides that, like the fact that he feels like Omega Shinron as well, with the fact that he gets stronger with each Dragon Ball that he has, or if he has 7, that's already 70%, I believe, right? Or 50. And then on top of the fact he gains already 80% when he comes into battle. So like, dude, like that's already enough damage already as it is. And his green card being one of the best in the game as well. Like if that green card had the ability to chain combos, I think he'd be busted. Like I don't know, like that would be very terrifying. I'm kind of glad that
Better
he
With
doesn't.
his with his green card, one thing that's crazy is that they didn't limit how many times he can freaking steal your Dragon Balls.
Yeah,
I've had
there's
matches
no
where
limit to
my
it.
opponent never rising rushed me because they couldn't.
Yeah,
I kept stealing their Dragon Balls.
Better yet, I also want to just like say shout out to the animations of the card, like from the
Yeah,
design.
it looks great.
I thought
I love the new model too.
Yeah, DBS model is amazing. The animations are great. Like the fact that they like completely built it from the ground up. I want to see that in future games. Let me get that skin in Fighters and Xenoverse at least.
Yeah, they did a really good job with Frieza in general.
I think something else to note about him that no one really talks about is like he actually does work pretty well on movies, because a lot of people just instantly assume he's only good on LOE. And the other thing to note about him on movies is that he's really the first movies character that's specifically blast oriented that's actually usable, because the whole team's been strike based for like over a year at this point, ever since Gohan and Bojack came out. So like now with a really, really powerful blast unit on the movies team, they can go out of their way and make more blast units, and you have a core of blast units that are really good on this team. So you could choose to run strike or blast version of this movies team now.
That's true. I mean, yeah, and it balances out as well. Like you can run an all strike team, but him as well, like that gives you that like that ratio of strike and blast. He holds the paralysis, I believe.
He
with the blast card.
just for an extra FU right there.
Yeah, exactly. Like you can run them with anybody, and it's pretty freaking disgusting. Like, you know, like get them if you got that if you got them at 6 stars too, like that's a lot of buffs that he just provides, especially even for LOE. I know that's specifically tied to LOE, but you know, for LOE and movies, like this is the guy you really want to run. Like there's no going back on that. Like if you have him, put your Z medals, I mean your Z power in him, because dude, like you won't regret it. Like he gains key. He gains 10 key for just attacking you. Like how? Like that's busted. Like that is like literally Vegito Blue, except the fact he doesn't draw a free card. But like think about it. Like he gained. I think that's the only unit in the game that has the most that gains key upon like just attacking you. I'm not sure. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like he's the only unit. Yeah, he gains the most, right? It's 10. Yeah. That's 10 key. That's a lot. Ridiculous. You can combo for a long time.
The red GT Goku was the first unit to do that, I think, right?
Yeah, something like that.
He gets 5 after each card. I think
but 10 is the most.
Yeah,
watch them Zenkai LF Frieza one day and just give him like a level 2 draw speed for his entire team or something.
Yeah,
oh my god!
I'm convinced this guy is this good because everyone just immediately was like writing him off. It's like, oh, Frieza, what did you do but get beat up in this movie, huh? And then he comes out of nowhere and he's like, I'm just gonna be the better unit.
Memes aside, low key, that's pretty impressive to last for an hour. That's pretty impressive.
He did it. I know he's not the main villain, but they didn't give him the powerful opponent tag.
Well, that's why they didn't give it to him.
Actually, the movie. The red Super Saiyan Blue God Goku, he gets 10 key on blast too.
But on strikes as well.
Does he?
Oh, not on strikes, but the blast he gets key too.
Oh, okay. Well, this Frieza gets strike and blast, so you know that's even more powerful.
And he reduces your opponent's key too.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
And key recovery.
Debuffs you, and just 50 key, just one blast card, dude. That's insane. Just 2 blast cards. Let's say you don't have to worry about your opponent just attacking you. That's it. I
actually thought that mechanic was kind of underwhelming. The reducing key mechanic. Not on Frieza, but I think Frieza does it right. But prior to Frieza, like with Gotenks, for example, red Gotenks, I thought it was kind of underwhelming because most units with their key recovery, by the time the combo's over, they're pretty much rebounded completely. But Frieza's 50 is like, dude, you're gonna be at 0 once it's done.
Yeah.
Also because you don't regenerate anything with a 30% reduction, right?
Yeah.
So
that's the key. That's the key right there, is the fact that he reduces your key recovery.
I see what you did there.
He has 80% damage inflicted, doesn't he, when he comes in? Frieza?
Yeah, 80%.
Yeah.
And if he has all 7 Dragon Balls, that's it. That's already 130% free damage.
Holy crap!
I still love the special move getting blast armor, man. That's so crazy. Like it's ridiculous. It's overkill.
Plus the fact that he has like the 6th highest stats in the game. that are
Yeah.
not Zenkai. Yeah.
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 This
He's not
dude was
even-
like,
yeah.
he's so out of left field because you look at the banner, it's like, oh, Gogeta, Broly, yes. And it's like, oh, well, who cares about Frieza? But Frieza's ridiculous. I have no
think another
negatives for
reason-
Frieza, like, at all.
I think another reason why I made him so good is if you did get shafted, they just don't pull anything and you pull Frieza at least. At least like you have that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout
I
out
think
to my
his
14
green
star-
card.
I was like, shout out to my 14-star Frieza squad, Goresh.
Yeah. One of the Zenkai.
Oh god.
Still working on that.
You say, when are they Zenkaiing
Yeah, I'm
him?
waiting for the Zenkai.
This man.
What?
Out of here with that.
This man's crazy.
Yo, but yeah, like if you guys got this Frieza, man, don't even worry about it. Like, dude, like he removes your buffs, and it's like it's crazy because there's no cap on that. Like,
Yeah.
we have who are like, all right, this can only activate once or whatever, twice, but like there's no cap on that green card. Like, you land that, that's it. Your enemy's buffs are gone. Like, dude, like this guy's
Until
very
they cycle
suppressive.
back in again.
He also has the best
course,
Rising
but-
Rush screen in the game. So
Yeah, his animations on the Rising Rush are pretty neat.
I don't think I've seen the
I've
Rising
never
Rush
seen
screen
it.
for him.
Is
it's
it
him,
when
it's him
he-
laughing and holding his hand up to the camera.
That's great. I need to see it. I'm gonna
Ah.
try it next time because I always use the greens, man.
Yeah.
I never have it in my hand.
So if you ever fight D3, now you know.
Oh my god.
He got that heavy bleed too. I forgot. Oh my god.
Yeah, like I said, there's nothing wrong with him, and I not very many characters do the canceling of buffs in general, but that's something
Yeah.
that has to be stated because it allows him to match up with characters like Vegito Blue, like Blue Super Saiyan Blue Goku, and like Shallot, I guess if you run into him, but characters that have these immunities to these abnormal conditions, he literally strips that and can
White.
paralyze. That's ridiculous.
Yep.
I think the last thing I'm going to say about this
They should give him
character.
They should give him a fade too.
The last thing I'm going
might
to
as
say
well.
is how good his main and ultimate go together because his main reduces card draw speed by 2, and then his ultimate deletes all your opponent's cards.
All your attribute upgrades as well.
yeah, and,
Oh,
and
yeah.
buffs, and heals you by 40%. So it's literally
Yeah.
just a better
No.
version of full power Super Saiyan 4 Goku's ult.
Freaking ridiculous.
I found it interesting that they didn't heal him at main ability, but that you actually have to land the card, which makes
almost
units
like
like Vados
Turles.
more dangerous.
Yeah, but you kind of want to. You kind of want to just like how he's in a combo in the video right now. You kind of want to just be in the combo, land it, and then
Exactly.
go.
Yeah, you have to
Well,
play him
and
like you play Turles to get the ult.
Yeah, and it's like, well, what the thing about his ult, it feels very safe, especially because we have units who are like, all right, once you pop their ult, you gotta use it quick because they have that time. They're time gated, right? So like, there are some ults in the game where it's like, all right, you pop the ult, and then they have like 3 seconds to like pop it, or unless it's not gonna do as much damage if you did land it like ASAP. But this guy has a good 20 timer count, so you can kind of pop it, take your time a little bit, and then you can just use it whenever, and the damage is still going to be there.
It's just that you're risking not healing if you then don't
If you don't land, of course,
you
yeah.
don't,
But,
yeah.
but I'm just
That's the
saying,
thing.
like that's really good. That's a really good thing about him too. So, but definitely, yeah, definitely land the combo and definitely pop the ult because you're just gonna heal it all back and destroy your cards. It's over.
Fair. All right, so I think we can move on to the last unit of the Sparking Trio, and that is Broly. What do you
one-man
think
army.
of Broly? Exactly. Okay, so just get it started, D3. What do you think of him?
He's a one-man army. Like the dude, like Broly is so like he's my favorite one here. He's the most fun one to play with, in my opinion. Because if you play Broly well, you literally don't even have to sub him out, and that's ridiculous. He also is probably like the easiest one to play, even if you're not like somebody that's like super skilled or whatever, because everything is handed to Broly as well. Anytime the enemy does anything, he even strips parts from Android 18's kit, where if they sub, he gets bonuses like card draw speed, which is one of the things that made an insane unit out of 18. He pretty much just does it all. I will say he can be a bit squishy, but if you're in a position where you can maintain priority and they're forced to switch, you just kind of heal everything back as well. So like he's really good.
Yeah, he reminds me a little bit of Purple Cooler, but obviously a much better version of him because they both have Blast Armor and Strike cards. They both get Vanish when the enemy switches, and they both get buffs when they're attacked.
Yeah, like a modern version of Purple Cooler,
Yeah,
who was insane at that time.
Right.
True.
Yeah,
but
this
guy
dude's
just gets the
ridiculous.
damage for breathing, bro. Like, just beat your ass without the B, and that's it.
Like,
I think it's 50% against Saiyans is really important as well when you're going against Son Family all the time with PvP. So that's
Yeah.
really helpful.
And we
think,
were just
Restoring
raving
key on
about
his
the-
blasts, his green card giving draw speed, extra cut. He has feint on his regular blue card, which he can combo.
Yeah.
He can special cover into, which is
Yeah.
ridiculous. Like,
And-
he is insanely good.
And
I
people
love it.
want purple Broly Zenkai. Imagine that with this
Oh.
man. Like,
That's why
come
I'm
on,
saying
brother.
people are like Oh,
Yeah.
Purple Bro is getting a Zenkai with the event. I'm
not-
telling
not
you,
gonna
like
be real. I feel like he wants Zenkai. And
No, I
feel
don't think
this is-
so
this
either.
This is gonna come back and bite me in the ass probably in a year. But like, looking at it, I feel like there's certain cards that came out and they probably would never Zenkai just because of how busted they were at launch. And like adding anything to them right now. I mean, I guess they could just lightly Zenkai them and make them more usable. But even then, like, it could be dangerous.
yeah. I'm
Well, the thing
dynamic
about
Goku
Purple
would say
Broly
that.
Zenkai is that only thing he needs is like damage inflicted buffs.
Mhm.
He has an
Yeah.
insane baseline already
I hope
for
I
what
hope
he
they
can
don't-
do.
I hope they don't listen to what like a lot of people are saying, because I even see people say, "Oh, I want instant transmission Goku to get a Zenkai." I'm like,
Oh.
no, please stop saying
You
this.
say
This is-
that.
No, I don't. I say don't do it.
I don't think we even want to get that because I even made that
This
joke
you?
to Toshi before, like, hey, you go to Zenkai, it's transmission Goku, and he was like, hell no. Like,
Thank God.
y'all really want that? Nah, you got a good point.
Nah.
That's crazy. I don't know why people would want that. Oh, I don't think
Imagine-
they went through it when he first
imagine
came out.
if-
Oof.
No,
It was him and
no.
Green
Do,
Bardock.
Blue card. does
Yeah,
same
him and Green
thing.
Bardock would shut you down. Like, you just
Oh.
couldn't even play.
Oh,
That was the worst.
the IT Goku counters everything in the game except for like a mid-range Rising Rush.
Yeah.
He still does to this day. His counter is still ridiculous.
And they thought taking
thanks
away
you.
Banish was gonna help it. Like,
Yeah,
what?
taking away your
Why is it
advantage does
better?
nothing.
Well, it doesn't help when his main ability draws him another super. So like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
screw that.
Imagine if Namek Goku fainted on this blue card.
Yeah.
Dog.
And had a cover rescue.
I mean, would that even
Dude.
matter since it kills you every time, anyways?
Well, if you live, like even against the green units, you just do it and it'd faint. Just really crap.
But yeah, Broly's nuts.
Yeah, I
What-
personally do
Can't
do the
relate.
synergy with Bardock. I think uniquely right. I know Frieza on paper is better. I know everyone just talked about how much I like Frieza. I like Broly a little bit more. I think his blast armor and his damage with Bardock is just through the roof right now with blue, purple Saiyans.
Well, it's not only just Bardock. I think it's the fact that he gets 3 Zenkai buffs too. Like Gogeta has none, and Broly has 3. I think that's the major difference right now.
Yeah, you can make so much more use, like in terms of just sheer damage output of Broly. And there's so many more ways to do it with Bardock, with Zenkais, with support characters. While Gogeta only really has access to one avenue, which is support characters. If you really want to make him pop off, if he does land his green, he's not outputting anywhere near as much damage as Broly.
By the way, speaking of which, I don't know where this came from, but apparently some people think that if you give too many buffs to something, it takes away the effectiveness. So like if you do like a triple Zenkai buff to a single unit, it's not as effective. That's actually not true.
No.
You can stack as many buffs as possible onto a card.
Well, yeah, I'm
It's
assuming
linear?
at some point they start to scale down, like diminishing
don't.
returns.
Scales down, I think. A point.
They do not.
They
And
don't.
Nope.
As of last
No, there's
night-
no cap.
Yeah, as of last night, yeah, both me and Bebop found out directly from the source that this actually, you can do as many buffs as you want to unit, and it does not scale down at all.
Really?
Oh,
So if you want to do like, if we ever get to the point where you have a bunch of like blue boosts and Super Saiyan Zenkais, and you want to all put it into Broly, you absolutely can.
Sounds
Not that
legit.
it's smart, because
you heard it here first.
but no, it does not scale down.
oh, well,
It's wild.
well then.
Where did that even
Oh.
come from?
I think the damage multiplier that like posted on Game Press right now talks about how after a certain point you get diminishing returns on your damage.
I think it's also because we thought the same was true with Z abilities. No, that's why we thought that there's a lot of value behind max HP buffers because they scale differently.
But it's not true. I've tested the HP. You do get diminishing returns on the HP.
Oh,
That's also not true.
yeah,
Wait,
I was
I've
quoting
tested
you.
it stacking multiple items with vanilla going up, and we saw increases like when we put 20% of like 16%. I'd have to dig it up. This was a while ago. I tested this with another gentleman, and we had all the HP buffs going all the way down. But we were losing. It was not giving us a true 20%, and we were stacking like the same characters. And okay, we'll added this much with one character. Let's add another character. It didn't just add the same amount to it. It started going down.
I don't
So,
know.
like,
if it's a
I
bug,
could
but
run-
I don't know if that's a bug, but that shouldn't be the case because we literally found out from from Toshi, basically.
This test was done during Vegeta Blues meta.
Okay.
So, yeah,
So I don't know. I don't know if that was a bug at the time, but like literally, me and Bebop were giving like feedback last night, and that was brought up, and that was the thing that was mentioned, that you can literally do as many buffs as you want.
Well, what our test was is because we could control, like you could see the exact 20%. There's several units that do it. Is we would put a 20% HP buff on, see how much it increased, right? Mark that down, add another one. It didn't give the same amount. It was a little bit less than that one each time we added another buff. We were trying to see if it was worth it at the time to go full HP bench, I believe, for the Fusion Warriors team.
Oh well.
Bebop and Rai, you guys are doing tonight, right?
Oh, I'm just
Yeah.
invisible. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we actually
We'll
didn't hear you, Goresh.
I'll double ask.
We should probably move on though, just because I don't want to take up. We don't want to go too crazy now. We only got 2 topics.
Yeah. So my question would be, what kind of teams do you prefer running the Broly on?
Movies.
Hercule and 18.
All right, I'm done. I'm leaving.
There's a
I'm
team
rage
called
quitting.
Invisible, because I don't got them.
Feels
Bro,
bad,
just
man.
pull them.
Yeah, I
Yo,
use them. I use
I'm
them
gonna
on the
slap
movies.
you, bro.
I actually think Powerful Opponent is like the most fun team to use him on, just because there's so many like different characters. It's not like movies where it's like, oh, you're only relegated to using movies units. This one, it's like literally any villain is pretty much on the team,
Except for Red Frieza.
and Deborah.
Yeah.
Who?
Who?
It's the guy who needs a Zenkai just for getting a tag update.
Yeah, please.
He's getting his
do it.
guys.
Just buff,
Yeah,
just
Powerful
buffs
Opponent is so fun.
every blue character.
You know what's great though? What's great is that Turles got a little bit more value because his support is so good for Powerful Opponent.
I've actually always really loved Turles, but I can see
Me
why
too.
people don't. But I've always really loved him and his playstyle, and he's one of my go-to characters for both movies and Powerful Opponent because the support effect, but also like the sub countdown and things he can do. I don't know. He's one of my favorite releases, I think, probably. So using him alongside Jiren and Broly is super fun for me.
Yep, that's the same lineup. I use the same lineup. It's great.
Yeah.
Guess I'll have to give him a second chance then, because I never really liked him. I remember doing a showcase with Goresh, and whoever used Turles lost.
He definitely got more value with the Powerful Opponent being more flushed out, just because his kits are more used now.
Remember when he released, the movies team was also just like very bad, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
he
was expected by people to kind of revive it. Well, and he was actually one of the last of several pretty much mediocre movie releases.
I think the timing of
the last like 6 months, they were all mediocre.
Yeah, I think the timing of his release was actually very bad too, because if he had come out after Gogeta and Broly, then people I think would have a much different opinion about him.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, because now back then the Powerful Opponent tag was unheard of, really. Like there was nothing you could do with it. But now that you have powerhouse units like Broly, Jiren, then getting more support buffs is going to seem much more attractive, and banners would probably sell better if.
Also, back then they were still relegating Powerful Opponent to just being single stat, and all of a sudden they just decided with Jiren and his crew, like, we're just gonna let the EX, Bojack, and these dudes come out with double buffing for Powerful Opponent, and they're just doing that now. So that's another thing.
Yeah, you could tell in that last video and stuff that you and Kagi did, Rhyme, that like Toshi specifically mentioned that they wanted to start focusing on, more tags, but not only that, but sub builds within a tag, like where you could go movies more, the old style with, just raw movies, or you could sub build it Powerful Opponent specifically. So you could have like Saiyan's movies, or you could have like Bojack and his squad and all. Like that seems like a really good way to go, because it's anything that gives you more options in a game like this, it makes more diversity, is good. It's a good thing.
Yep.
Right, so speaking of Powerful Opponent, we have one more unit on the banner, and that is the Extreme Broly. I don't know if a lot of people actually played him, but I know that Ryuden has a video out with him, so you can probably tell us a little bit how you like him, huh?
I think he's all right. I'm not a fan of like defensive units, EX defensive units, just because part of their overall tanking banks on their defensive stats, and EX units naturally don't have the highest stats at the get-go, so he does have high sustained damage cut after a while, but he's overall he's decent. I like his green card quite a bit though. He gets like a huge 30% additional damage given, and he can get his green card really easily, and sort of a pseudo last stand guy with the damage inflicted buff. So he's an all right unit, but I think he's truly going to shine when people have a lot more copies of him, because that 45% sustained damage cut that you can't take away is definitely going to be much more noticeable when his stats go up more. So he's a decent unit. I think he's all right.
I don't think he's anything special. I like his party heal.
I want to throw out one last thing. Is he the third unit that gives double defenses for Saiyan?
Yep.
So this is another one of those. I feel like that's really premium for some reason. Only LF Super Saiyan 3 and the purple Vegeta have it. So it's nice to see another Saiyan get it. Sorry, D3.
Oh no, I was agreeing. I was just saying I don't really care much for him. I like his party heal though, and I like his green. But I think that he kind of wants to make it like to being like a last man standing and stuff like that. And these are things that you're not going to get in a lot of instances, because you're probably going to have a better option to keep as your last man standing in most comps that you're going to be running. But that also could be partly because, I'm using him at like 3-star, like you said. Maybe, in those situations as a higher starred unit, it'd be more impressive to me. But I still think at that point you might still have better options. That's just how I feel about him. But I think his Z ability is going to be premium for a very long time. Like it's like you said, he's the third one with that, and that's going to age super well. Also extends to movies, even though they have a couple more. But I just think he's just okay. Like I don't think he's a bad EX character, specifically gauging versus other EXs. But I don't think he's great or anything special either.
I was going to bring up the Z ability too, because this is for movies only the fourth one that is doing like the thing.
Yeah,
like,
they have a bunch.
Both. Yeah, I was like, if you're on both tags, you get like a third buff or whatever. Do you guys think it's only going to be for movies?
I think they're gonna extend this. I feel like this is the way they're gonna go forward with Z abilities.
I think you can extend this to future, because future is like, if you're future and God Key, or if you're future and Saiyans or whatever it is, right?
That's what they should have done. Like imagine if they had that foresight earlier, around the 2-year anniversary, to try to do that. It would have kept Future and God Key from mainly being 99% the same team.
Yeah.
It would have added some diversity there. Although things have changed, obviously, and they will continue to change as we progress and get other forms and stuff like that. But it would have been nice to see that in advance. But it seems like it's mainly just going to be for movies.
Is that the only team? I mean,
there's not too much to add for the guy, really. He's here all around. He's an alright unit. I like the form. That's cool. I like this base form Broly, premium C ability, but he's probably going to be your good old bench.
I don't like that they stripped the Chi-Lai unit for like everything. It's the same exact thing. They just took her out of everything.
Yeah, but it's okay. I just like that base form Broly.
Yeah, but it's an EX thing. They always repurpose everything, so I'm not really surprised.
I think his unique ability is actually really weird. Like I just feel like it's just unnecessary. The one is called Primal Stamina, like the one that he just 20 timer counts, he reduces damage by 10%. And then the 41 is like reduces damage by 5. Like
5,
what? Like, I just feel like it's such an unnecessary unique, but yeah, he's definitely not a bad option for bench, but I just don't see anything hyper about him.
The thing about him is that even relative to other EXs that we've been impressed with, there is more to them than just one unique is completely defense, the other one's completely offense. He has a good main ability, like I said. Party heal's always going to be good, but I think there could have been more that they did for him to really make him stand out. He seemed like he was obviously just kind of thrown in.
Yeah.
Something that nobody ever really mentions either, which it hasn't been a huge thing in the past. It's only happened once, but he could shine very nicely if they ever decide to do another EX only type mode, like how they did the LBR that one go around and it was just EXs only. He would probably fit in very nicely there.
He'd probably be,
and he'd be pushed to 14, so he'd be pretty good if they did LBR specifically.
Yeah, I wish they would honestly do stuff like that again, because it forces you to use units you wouldn't otherwise use in any other situation.
What was that one that they did that was limited, but they never did it again? The last time.
Ultimate Battle.
Yeah,
Ultimate Battle, yes. And I remember thinking like, hey, they're gonna finally use this as a way to like add diversity, maybe like a way to do like no rush or whatever, but they never did it again.
What do you mean you're doing it every other season?
It's because everyone ran regen and then everyone complained that the matches never ended.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, the matches started taking like 7 minutes, dude.
Yep.
Yep.
That's the only reason
And they-
why it never came back, I
out.
think.
Oh
Going to
man,
10
I
was
forgot
always
about
fun.
that. I was so frustrated with that meta. The matches were so damn long.
Yeah, agreed.
They went to counter every time.
Yeah, I mean, especially if both players played regen, they don't really do much damage, but they tank everything. It's just-
Yeah.
And then you win by 100,000, and still you only do 4 million damage, and it goes to timeout. It's ridiculous.
I think
yeah.
with some tweaks where maybe that mode isn't always, LVR 14-star everything, it could still be done well and fun for them to rotate around. But yeah, the
I
fact
feel
that
what I
oh, go ahead.
no sorry, you go ahead.
All I
interrupted.
was going to finish with is the fact that the first time it debuted, it had an old rule set in it. Probably didn't win over too many people, right? Like if they had brought it out with a brand new rule set the first time, then people would be like, "Oh, what is this? This is really new and different." But then they brought out that quote unquote new mode, but it was just a repackaged LBR, right? So that's probably why the demand for it may not have been quite as high. I would think maybe.
Like they could have used that mode to test out certain battle system changes. Like, what if they tested out the Rising Rush change in there first, and then did a survey and got people's
that's what I
feedback
thought
on
they
it,
were
and
gonna
then
do.
changed it?
I thought they were going to do something like that and then get the data, but I guess they probably just didn't have the infrastructure.
Yeah,
Because something that people don't realize is their team is not like a million people. Like they have such a limited amount of people on staff that has to do animations, basic program. Like the way they break down a team, they only have so many people to go around to actually do stuff, which is why they're limited what they can and can't do.
Yeah, people say Dimps and they're like, "Oh, that's that company. They're huge. They've made like 50 video games. They make Xenoverse. They make Heroes." But it's like the Legends team specifically is just like a corner office in Dimps. It's not like the whole company at their disposal, right?
Yep.
And it's also their first mobile game, so they're obviously going to make a lot of mistakes.
Yep.
Yeah, I think also it got much better, but now we're going off on a tangent. Just being more transparent and also being more engaged with the community. Where at first I was like, are they even listening to us?
Definitely.
I think at the very beginning it was really good. Then it went downhill, and now it's getting better again.
Yeah, these videos are definitely a good thing in the right direction.
All right. I think before we go completely off track, we can move on to the next topic, and this is one that was very controversial for a lot of people, or actually, a lot of people kind of got enraged about it. So, Brad, how do you feel about the changes to the step-up banner system right now?
Well, I think we've all pretty much voiced our opinions on it. It's not very good, but
Not very good. It's great.
The actual formatting of it's great. It's just the pool
yeah,
of
no, I agree with that.
units.
The formatting is good. It's
trash
it's
overall.
good. The tickets.
The tickets,
For me,
yeah.
it's the ticket that really was the thing
Tickets
that I was
are ass.
hyped about. And then I was like, what are these tickets? Why am I getting 6 yellow Bardocks and 1 multi? Like,
Did
it's like, I don't understand.
Did anybody pull purple Broly from their ticket?
Oh,
Yes.
did anybody pull
Stop,
purple
stop.
SSG Goku 30
But
times?
once or twice, maybe.
But what about for
Once or
the
twice.
players that
So-
are just getting into the
Well, yeah,
game? Because I
that's
feel
what
like
I'm
this
about
is
to say.
just
So-
value.
I think
I mean, that's
this
not
ticket,
bad. Yeah, you can definitely make that argument for that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely good for newbies for sure. But at the same time, you got to reward everybody kind of evenly. You can't just be like, all right, well, new people, welcome to the game. Hopefully, you have a good team now. And it's like, well, I'd also like to get the new units. I just dropped 50,000 Chrono Crystals and got 1 copy of each. Like,
This is what I would do, honestly, to make this better. Like this ticket banner is valuable for new players or newer players, I should say. If you're gonna if you think about joining the game, this is the perfect time to do so because you get a lot of good units. What they should do in the future is they should keep the same format, but just up the rates for the LFs. Like, remember the very first LF banner where it was like 20% to get an LF? I wouldn't mind if something like that comes back. I mean, obviously not maybe 20%, because that's maybe
Well, the
too much,
whole
but-
infrastructure was different, though.
Yeah, well, you could do something like, I don't know, 5%, 10%, but just like, up the rates for the LFs. If that's the case,
Yeah.
then I think nobody would bat an eyelash.
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
yeah,
I was going to say, I
all in,
agree,
yeah.
but they were like that, though, remember, because characters were ticket exclusive.
Yeah, they
That
weren't on
we
the
didn't like
regular
either.
banner.
The thing that is like mind-boggling to me is that on the ticket summons you have the same chance of getting the LFs as you do on the normal banner from 100 crystals.
Yeah, if you're not care about the sparking units at all, which I feel like most people that have been playing this game for 2 years now are, that does feel kind of demoralizing. It feels like you're just throwing some single summons at it.
Yeah. Well, I think this is something we've all said for quite a while now, too. To help alleviate that, basically, aside from us, everybody else should just only be bullying on step up banners. You just alleviate that concern
Which
entirely.
is funny because I often see people be like, "Oh, another step up banner. I hate these." Why? They're the best value.
Yeah, they are the best value, but people won't look at it that way.
Yeah, it's no contest.
Well, honestly, recently my suggestions have been to only summon on Zenkai banner.
Zenkais, yeah, that's the only other thing I would say. Zenkais.
The only frustrating thing is we constantly get asked about, what would your opinion be on what to do, and we tell them like, I strongly recommend you do X or Y, and then you get, sorry bro, I didn't do X or Y, I have no CC, what do I do? And you're like, what?
Well,
I don't know what to tell you now. Why'd you do it?
To be fair, this past couple weeks was interesting because we went from UI to this, and I know you mentioned in the beginning of the podcast we're gonna talk about this, but we don't really jump into it yet. But yeah, it kind of sucks that we got 2 hype LF banners back to back, but at the same time, it's something that we already knew was going to happen. Because Black Friday is always a thing, Christmas is always a thing. We've been literally talking about Gogeta Blue coming up the past 2 years, so it's it should have been kind of a thing that people should have expected. Obviously, we didn't know Gogeta Blue was coming out for sure, but we knew that a hype banner was coming, so it's you should kind of prepare for it. But at the same time, it also sucks because it's UI Goku is a hype unit. Everyone's going to pull for that.
Yeah. This, I liken this too. I said it a lot, but this is like Legends saying, we're going out with a bang for this year, because not they didn't bring something that's pretty hype like last year where it's SS4s, and maybe arguably for some people that's more hype than the stuff we got. But I think for majority of people, the stuff we got for the end of the year here with UI and Blue Gogeta obviously is more hype than last year, right? They didn't do the same thing where it's oh, we'll just bring out something like that's pretty hype, but not as hype as we could potentially make it. They said we're gonna blow everything out. We're just boom, here it is, back to back, right? So that's pretty crazy. If you're going directly from UI Goku to Gogeta Blue, that's insane.
Which just means probably the next couple months are going to suck.
Yeah.
The funny thing is we just had 2 years of this meme of Gogeta, but that's not what are we excited about.
Yeah, there's a void that can't be filled anymore.
Garlic
It's going to be
Jr.
2 months of PyCon.
It's going to be Garlic Jr.
We need the transforming Super Saiyan to Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Gogeta now.
Oh yeah, that's going to happen.
In 2 years.
In 2 more years.
Angel Golden Frieza.
Angel Golden Frieza, yeah.
Hey, I'm not for that.
There isn't even an Angel Golden Frieza in the game. No, the red one, huh?
He's not Angel.
Nah,
he's not Angel. So there isn't one. Okay.
No.
Yeah, so how do you guys feel, by the way, speaking about the banners, how do you guys feel about getting 3 LFs within a month and having 3 step-ups running at the same time? Prof, what do you think about this shit?
I don't know. I think this is all happening. None of the teams right now feel crazy. I guess there's blue Saiyans, but I just don't run a green unit. That's why they're bullying me. But I don't know. I'm really digging it right now. I haven't. When Vegeta Blue came out, it felt like you run that, you win the game. People were summoning for it because it felt like you had to have it. The fact that there's a healthy debate in the community. I know you guys kind of came to the census that it's Frieza, but there's a healthy debate in the community right now on who's the best unit. And that means we're in a good meta right now, in my opinion. And I really like the broadness of the tags. I don't know. I zero complaints from my angle.
Frankly, I'm happy that Frieza's just in that conversation at all. You wouldn't think so,
Yeah. I think it's more on the lines of it's asking for quite a bit from the community with 3 hard to pull super hype units coming within a short window. I kind of felt like something was happening. I was always a little bit skeptical, and it was further strengthened by Garesh's comments about how Black Friday and Christmas are celebrated in Japan. So I was a little bit skeptical, but in my opinion, I don't know. I probably wouldn't, not a welcome thing. I wish they don't do it. I hope they don't do it again.
Well,
3 in such a short window is definitely asking quite a bit from a lot of players.
Fun fact, Black Friday wasn't meant to be a thing. They did it once with Goku Black's release. They kind of themed it because, again, Black Friday is only celebrated here. And then it just became kind of like a thing that they had to do every single year. So if it wasn't for us expecting it, they wouldn't be doing it.
Just like I'm expecting them happy bags, boy.
Whale time.
Or sad bag.
What is there to get of
this? What are you summoning?
I don't know.
Hey, that's a good video, though.
I need the resources.
I want Gogeta Blue and Broly, to be honest.
Oh my god, isn't that sad? Would we want to get the happy bags for energy tickets?
Just for the resources. Hey, maybe they'll incentivize him and put Zenkai stuff in there.
I was about to
Ooh.
say, if they throw that in there, okay, you win, Toshi. You definitely got it all.
I don't know. The only thing that I have like to complain about this new banner stuff besides the tickets is the fact that there's only one new sparking and 2 LFs. Like I really wish that it would have been set up more like how UI's banner was, whereas there was at least like if you didn't pull UI, you still pulled like the Pride Troopers, which is in by themselves is a good team. So you still had something you could use rather than just like if you go on this banner and you go ham and the only thing you pull is Frieza, you're gonna feel defeated. You know,
I think the circumstance is different though, because with the other banner, the reason why there's so many, and that's actually like an extra character than normal. Normal is like 3. But the reason why that's the case is because the Pride Troopers were always going to release as a trio. So you obviously kind of have to do that. I mean, I agree with you. It does suck that Frieza's the only other character, but he's a hell of a consolation prize.
Yeah, it's like releasing new Super Warriors without another Chaozu.
Yeah, oh my god.
Well, and to be fair with Frieza, we have the EX Frieza Force guys that are pretty solid. I mean, they're not top tier, but they're solid.
Yeah, 14-star. They can do work.
Yeah, they're
Like,
competitive.
There's options out there. Frieza Force has been in the banner rotation forever. They've just been kind of the black sheep of the group. Nobody really cared.
Yeah,
And now they're kind of getting a little bit of love lately with the EX Frieza in this new one.
I'm just waiting to see. I was just saying.
Oh, good.
I was just gonna say I can't wait till the Ginyu Force gets their EX Zenkais.
Yeah. But like, what you were asking for, more so than UI, would have been like the first year anniversary banner format where you had, Vegito Blue, but he was split across 2 banners, but then they had 2 units. Or not Vegito Blue, I'm sorry, Super Vegito. And now it was split across. It was like 1 LF, but there was 4 other new sparkings. Maybe they could have done kind of like a halfway in between that, maybe, or something.
Same thing with 2 year. 1 banner for 2-3 sparkings. That would have been enough for me. But then it would have been too easy, quote unquote, to pull one of them, I guess.
I think a lot of the concern with the banners could have also been alleviated if Broly was just a regular sparking, but they decided obviously to go all the way and make him an LF as well.
Or what I wish they could have done was when they had Bardock and Frieza come out, how the tickets were where your tickets that you had for, say you summoned only on the Bardock side, you could still the tickets for that for the Piccolo, you could still use those tickets and potentially pull the Frieza.
I was saying the same thing.
Well, the tickets are entirely different, though. Like that would have been great, but it's an entirely different system than we've ever had.
Yeah, well, I mean, universal tickets though that could have been spent on either one. Like maybe you got lucky on a Broly multi, and you want to throw that on the Gogeta. I mean, that
would have been good.
That would have been great, yeah. Or 1 banner with 2 LFs. I know.
I don't think anybody's a fan of how they do these tickets. But
this whole system, realistically, we were talking about it in the first place. But aside from the value to newer players that don't have all these characters, highly starred, it's not great.
Literally just increase the rates for LFs, and I think the system's fine.
Could have been 5%, I think.
They could have also just, honestly, I don't know why there's a set pool of sparkings they added to that ticket banner. It literally could have just been every sparking in the game.
Yeah.
Because then that would include units that people like haven't seen in ages. Like when was the last time Green Chi-Chi was on a banner? Or Yellow Rosie, or stuff like that.
Featured?
Right?
He's probably on all these banners.
Uba isn't here, but he could
Chilled
probably
in
tell
it. That's what I want to know.
You want to know where
hey, Ryan, did you pull him at all?
What?
Did you pull Chilled at all on this banner?
Oh, God.
all of them.
I mean, I will say
kept showing up.
The banner helped me get my my Super Saiyan Blue Goku to 14 stars because I had him at like 9 and I kept pulling him. So he's 14 at Zenkai 7. So that's the only good thing about that.
Yeah, I had my purple SSG Goku at like 11 stars, and he's like, if I was still able to continue dupes, he'd be at like 20 stars right now.
You know what would have been great though is if the future plan is to have step ups feature multiple LFs, I would like an animation that guarantees you got the new one. Because Vegeta Blue now you worry that it's like, oh no, what if this is Beerus? That's a terrible thing to have to worry about with such a hype animation.
That's why it's the right time to add Gogeta as an animation.
Yeah, Gogeta versus Jiren.
Didn't they
specifically
Gogeta versus Goku? No, it's Zamasu.
I obviously couldn't understand it, but I think Goresh pointed out that at the beginning of the Japanese version of the video and stuff, didn't they specifically talk about animations, go over what they had already done, and say that they had no plans to include any new ones as of yet?
Well, it was just for this anniversary or this celebration. They said that.
Yeah, no, they definitely plan on adding more animations over the future, just whenever there is resources for it. Like,
I mean,
obviously, they would have added Gogeta as an animation back then, but he wasn't in the game yet.
I saw a really good suggestion where in the Spirit Bomb animation, Frieza pushes it back to Goku and he goes UI.
Ooh, that'd be dope.
Yeah.
Can't wait to never see it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if only you never see it.
The cut animation that Super Saiyan 3 Goku does is just the same as UI does. What in the introduction, the intro for the second season of Super, you know, when it tries to show off Goku in his new form, you know what I mean? It's all red. He cuts through the aura and he fights Jiren again, but we don't know what state he's in. That same cut could be used to turn into UI. Yeah, that would have been cool.
I'm literally emailing Toshi right now about that animation. I want to see that shit.
Just send him a link to the VOD.
Yeah, like it'd be dope. I mean, like I hope in the future we will have more summon animations. Like I could obviously everyone could probably agree to that, but I'm hoping like you guys said just now with the UI transformation, like if he went like Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken and pushed he pushed the Spirit Bomb back, or if Jiren pops up, like that'd be pretty fucking dope too. But like again, like yeah, Gogeta Blue should have been in there, but nah, hopefully in the future, like they surprise us with it.
I've always wanted to see like Kid Buu or Cell as the opponent.
Yeah, so it's not always poor Frieza getting beat up every time.
Yeah, I don't think they'll ever switch it up like that though. But I feel you.
I don't know. I just remember the hype of like when nobody knew that the new animations were out, and then all of a sudden you're summoning for Vegito Blue, and you see Vegito Blue just show up in your animation.
Oh, yeah, it was the same when they added the Trunks Vegeta and then the Goku and Bardock ones too. That was exciting.
I remember, I thought people were trolling because I was streaming and other people were like, "Oh, did you get the Broly animation?" And I'm like, "Okay, yeah, haha, good one."
Dude, I got that animation on my very last GSP ticket, thinking I got Vegito Blue, but I got Super Vegito, and I was like, "This doesn't guarantee the newest guy."
Yeah.
It was such a roller coaster. 2 a.m, screaming at the top of my lungs, about to get evicted, and I got Super Vegito.
Yeah, but worth it. I remember also the collab we did, the 4-way, where you were like, "Oh my god, I got the Broly animation." Then you actually got him, right?
No, but I held back. I was like, "Wait, I don't trust this. This happened before. Unless I see blue hair, I don't trust what this means."
No, I had a summon earlier yesterday actually. I did a summon. I got Nimbus and then I got Broly and I was like, oh, this is definitely gonna. This has to be the new one. And I got LF Namek Goku and I was like, oh, dude, my soul wanted to cry. Like,
by the way, also we have the Nimbus animation wrong. It doesn't mean feature unit. It means just EX or higher.
I knew it. I knew it. I knew it.
I did too.
I
But
got it on
supposed to be like, no, it means feature unit. I'm like, no, it just happens that maybe you got lucky, but it just absolutely just means
the Dark Horse one is Blue Vegeta means featured character. No one ever really talks about that.
Wait, which one?
I've gotten one every single time. I've gotten Blue Vegeta.
So
when Vegeta comes in to help Goku.
When Blue Goku loses, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen Blue Goku lose.
I've had it happen once, and I wish I would have it happen more. But I've had Super Saiyan Blue, and then Broly shows up. And those are the hype ones. It happened on the second anniversary for a VB summon.
Yeah, those are rare.
Did you get 2 VBs?
No. I didn't actually pull a VB. I pulled the other
Beerus twice.
Yeah. Well, not Beerus twice, but a Beerus, yeah.
Feels bad, man.
I saw the Broly animation when it first came out on Vegito Blue's banner, and it was like step 2, and I was so incredibly hyped. I was like, "What is this?" I had no idea. Cause I had no idea that it was like a new thing, right? And I'm like, "Dude, this is crazy. What does this mean?" People are saying, "Oh, it's like guaranteed LF," and it's like, "Oh, we're gonna get Vegito Blue right here." Like, oh, it's just green Vegeta. Well, it was hype though, at least to see it.
Definitely was crazy roller coaster of emotions when I first saw it. Yeah.
I think we can move on. The next topic, Nas. We've heard some speculations. Well, we've seen that the Broly story event and also the Rising Battle events are getting revamped. Does that mean Red Broly is getting a Zenkai? What do you think?
Well, it seems like they are removing Broly from like Rising Battleship hood, I guess you could say, because on screen the viewers can see it, but this was something that I was alerted to specifically on DBZ Space. I didn't even see it in the in-game news. I'm like, where are people hearing this? But over here, it seems like they're taking the Super Saiyan Broly and the Rising Battle, the Red Broly.
No. It's two story events.
It was 2 story events.
And they're combining them, and then they're keeping the Rising Battle separate.
Okay, so the Rising Battle's not coming back out yet, but they're
The story event also allowed you to farm the souls for that Broly specifically.
Yeah.
It was always kind of tied in weirdly.
Yeah, now they're reworking it so that both of those events are one, and it's going to have that map style redesign that they had before.
I was hoping that the Zenkai for Rising Battle units could just been like a continuation of Rising Battle stages, as opposed to having to do skip ticket simulator.
Yeah, and that's what the only premise for the rumoring going on that it's going to be the Red Fury Broly is that every time they've done the free to play events like this recently, more often than not, it's been followed up by a Zenkai forum. I think
I think it's super likely, but I will say most of the time that they do, they also put a preview or announce that the character is going to get a Zenkai in the news directly.
It is Sunday. That is
literally every time. No, not a preview, but in the same news announcement, they say, "Oh, the character's also going to get a Zenkai soon," or they actually literally show you the details of the character.
I think the only ones they didn't were like the LFs, right? Like when Namek Goku, they're like, "Oh, just this event is coming back," but or whatever.
Yeah. Well, that one's a little different, but like with the revamps, they literally say the character's getting it right then and there. This is weird because they're taking 2 separate stories and combining them into one, which they probably should have been in the first place. Also, these were some of the only stories in the game that had that scream difficulty as well. So I don't know if they're doing that. But they're going to obviously, as you said, give it that new tile format that they had previously. I wouldn't be surprised if he Zenkais from this. But I don't know if it's going to happen.
Yeah, no one is 100%, but he's almost to the point right now where he's completely unusable. Whereas, like people said, the purple Broly is like right on the verge where, all he needs is damage. But the red one is not really anything other than like a bench. Even then, he's like even out of top meta usefulness for any benches, right? So
I hope they
he'd be really interesting, man. Like his unique to give damage cut is so awesome to see.
Would be perfect for both these LFs because we've been talking about how they're not the tankiest. Well, hey, this guy comes out of nowhere and he's able to provide that extra tankiness they could use.
Tankiness and just insane amount of damage buffs just switching in and out. Like
he also has like an ult and feint and all these different things. Like he has a really he has a really good baseline. Doesn't even heal himself. Like he has stuff that can make him good.
Yeah.
He's got that super old version of the Red Gogeta's ability that we saw repurposed like EX Nail and stuff like that, and where you can get the damage buff for using the arts cards and stuff. He can be really good.
Yeah, he has a very linear kit, but he was very good at what he did.
Part of why I think he could get it is also because it was the previous update they gave the Awakening equip specifically for Red Movie Saga units. I'm like, tinfoil hat, that might mean something.
Also, this week should be a Zenkai if they follow the trend they've been having for forever.
Yeah,
please make it a free one.
Also, I feel like his his sixth ability or the Zenkai 6 ability that he gets will definitely give him like some kind of like nullification of cover change.
Or he gives card draw speed because they just want to help out the 2 LFs. That would be insane.
Frieza and Gogeta, no card draw speed.
His card draw speed is the green card locking you in and one-shotting your purple unit.
that works. He's the anti-UI, man.
He really is. Or UI.
Yeah, so there's not too much more concrete information on that, but it's just the running rumor that he could be the next free-to-play character to Zenkai. Because they're structuring all this stuff for him right now, there's no other news about anybody else. So, I mean... And
what do you think is... Sorry, go ahead.
I was saying it's very clear that they've been intent on buffing up the movies team, so...
What do you think his Zenkai ability is going to be? Because we know what the EX free ones are like. What about him? Is it going to be like Movie Saga Red and the full
movies.
Flushed out 40, or...
It'd probably be red movies, but also like a tuned down version. If he is a free Zenkai,
like Legends Road version.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
yeah. If he's a free Zenkai, I bet they do something like Legends Road. I don't know if it's going to be an all encompassing thing because that would actually get really broken really fast for a team like movies.
Yeah.
Well, if they did like 10-15% for all of movies, though.
Well, if it's like 10%, no, but now it's like 25, 30, whatever, you know.
The only other real option besides like Red movies or Red Saiyans would be Red Frieza Force. Yeah, I was gonna say.
Red Frieza Force
could be a thing.
So, yeah, it would kind of work against it.
I don't know. Like, he did have that equip that came out with him that specifically was like for having like Frieza Force allies or something like that, or being versus
Yeah.
the stand. It was like weird. So maybe I don't know.
I don't even want him to be that.
Yeah. Well, he's kind of weird to get a Zenkai too, relative to like the entire cast of characters in the game. Because like if you look at movies, they're red characters now. You've got Gogeta, you've got the new Frieza. It's just kind of like, oh, okay, well, another red movies character that's going to be really good.
I mean, I just want them to continue down the path of Zenkaiing every sparking Broly. So
Stop. Hey, so people have been saying in the chat that they want the purple Broly, obviously. And that's such an enigma to me. I don't want that, but I also want to see the world burn. And what I mean by that is people I'm so ready. I'm so ready for him to get a Zenkai and people just be like, oh, I hate this dude. He's too good. Like all the things you hear about Gohan, watch. I'm so happy for that. I'll be like, dude, we told you it was gonna be broken. Why are you asking for this for months?
It'll be the same cycle, yeah. It's
He'll
like,
have
oh,
a
no, this
whole-
game is gonna die.
He'll have a whole
But
team of 6 Zenkai Brolys to run with. So
That
Yo,
Super
we're
Saiyan
not
team
very
though,
far
would
from
be
that.
the Super Saiyan team would be stupid though with Zenkai Broly on it with the new Broly. You like blue purple with Z7 Bardock and Z7 purple Broly would just be dumb.
Yeah. Well, you might even be better off still just running Namek Goku as one of your blues too. And you really just
I'm here
don't
for
have
it.
a weakness.
Yeah.
This is
All right, so
overkill, man.
before we hit the break, there's one more topic. And yeah, maybe Goresh can tell us a little bit about how significant that is, because we actually hit top grossing for I think only the second time around this time, right?
yeah, well, technically, this was, I believe, only the second time we hit it in Japan specifically. I think
Which
the
is a
first time
big
we
deal.
ever did was first year anniversary, and that was like
Yep.
12 countries or something. That was crazy.
Yeah, that was wild.
Yeah.
I just think it's crazy that we hit it in Japan, but not in the US. And
Yeah.
like hitting top grossing in Japan, I don't think people realize how special and ridiculous that is.
Yeah, because especially during this time of year as well, because you guys have to realize a lot of people, just to preface what I'm going to say, a lot of people are like, oh, Gogeta's not going to come out for New Year's. He's an anniversary level unit. And you have to understand that, like, New Year's in Japan, people literally, like, young adults to teens to kids, they get something called otoshidama, which is basically like an allowance for New Year's or like a gift of money. So they know this is like the time that they're supposed to bring out the super hype units because people have access to more money than they would otherwise at this point. So, you know, this is like the big time where every single gacha game, or even not even gacha game, just like every single game and like mobile app is releasing special deals and stuff like that. Obviously, the holiday season, right? So the fact that they beat out every other app during whatever the portion, like I think it was like 1 or 2 days or something, they hit it. So it's like a massive feat for them. And yeah, it's a very, very big deal. So top grossing is a good sign for the game, I would say.
I'm pretty sure that they knew though. Anytime they dropped Gogeta, he was like going to hit top grossing. They had that in the back of their pocket for whenever they wanted to save him for. And they chose this time of the year for good reason, as you said.
We saw that with Dokkan on Global.
For the record, didn't Dokkan Global do UI and then Gogeta?
I don't know, but they had that thing
Back to back?
last week or 2 weeks ago where they posted that they hit top grossing when they didn't.
Oh yeah, well because they're so used to getting it.
Yeah, well, not just that, but I think they do have an algorithm or something that's like, all right, this unit right here will top gross. This one, this will, this won't.
Yeah. The thing that's kind of scary about top grossing though is because I don't want them to get confused and think that we actually like this banner model. When really nobody likes the banner model, and the only reason it's top grossing is because
I'm pretty sure they just knew with Gogeta and Broly, which is why they were comfortable trying out something new.
Well, that's why I said they knew that they had this gold printer in their pocket the whole time. They've had him for forever.
This could have been a Legends All-Star banner and it would have hit top grossing.
Yeah, it was the fact it was Gogeta and also like Broly too. They knew what they were doing, so I get it. But like, I just don't want them to think that people like this banner model. I haven't heard a single person that likes it in general.
This could have been,
even though there is benefit for some players. I want to preface that.
Like I said, literally just increase the rates for Ellison tickets, and I think in the future it can be fine.
Yeah, like
I
it
kind of
was.
miss Step 5 having the ×2 rates in general. I actually really like that.
Gonna say that too.
Would you rather have ×2 the rates for pulls, or would you rather have more rates for the LFs?
More
I
rates
guess
for the
it's
LF.
kind of the same
to the
thing.
LF too. Well, I also would like to have the tickets work at least similarly to how they did previously.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
Even if it was on an individual basis, you know how freaking awesome that would be?
Yeah,
Like, if it was on an individual basis as opposed to needing 5, but they were exactly as, like, what were they previously on those banners? Like 5%?
all they have to do
10% for the sparking.
All they
Yeah,
have to
that'd be
do
great.
is take features of the one that we have right now and the one that we used to have and like mix and match some of the good features from
Right.
both of them, and then it would be great. Like if they kept the 0.5% rates for LFs across the board, but then
Yep.
also had the same ticket structures they did in the other banners, that would be the best.
That would have
Like,
been huge.
I'm gonna just tell you
Yeah.
right now. Again, can't give you full details because, like, NDA and shit. But me and Bebop, and I know the other side of the crew tonight will be able to hop on and send more feedback as well. We let them know. We let them know how we felt about that banner, and hopefully they do take what we said last night as well as tonight as well, and improve and make them better. It's just let's just see what happens.
This man is a god.
Going on that banner.
I mean, I will
Alright.
say,
Yeah,
though,
and I low key missed the free multi. Let me just add that in there, sprinkle that in. That free multi always came in clutch for me.
That's a
I don't
good
know about
point.
anybody else, but like,
Yeah.
like honestly, it always made people feel a little better. Just like, all right, well, if I got shot, they're screwed. I got the free multi, but
I'm just gonna say it right now. The other setup was kind of predatory because the way to set it up is every time you get to like step 5 where you spend all your crystals, well, I got one more. If I do one more, I get a free multi. And then you get to step 3. Well, you know what?
4 tickets.
I get 700 crystals. I got a discount, and then you just loop that never ends.
You know how many times
that
I've
was-
fallen victim
Bro,
to that, and I knew it was
yes.
happening.
dude,
I'm looking at it like, dude. I'm looking at it like, dude, if I do one more multi, I get enough tickets. And then as soon as you do it, you get to
Exactly.
step 5.
It's
And
like
it's
4
like,
out of 5
Best
tickets.
way, but
Again-
that was the best way to coerce your friends into summoning.
Yeah, exactly. And I know for sure that I helped.
Dude,
you.
the
Okay,
flashbacks.
I will say this though. I will say this. The one thing I will give to this new banner setup is not ones that I feel I wanted to keep going. Because like once I get to step,
Yeah.
whatever, I'm done. But like literally
Yeah.
the old setup, I was like, well, if I get a discount,
Yeah.
Or well, not.
Bro,
It's like,
all
I
those
don't want to
internal
like
fights.
wait.
Oh, wait, one
You
more, I'll
fighting
get a free
yourself.
one. Oh, wait, the
Just
next
one
one's
more.
this time.
The
Yeah,
biggest
yeah.
lie we
And
ever
I need
told
one more
ourselves
ticket.
is just one more. Just one
Just
more.
one more.
That's the biggest
Yeah.
lie
Just
we tell
one-
ourselves.
yeah, I tell myself every day.
The sneakiest one was step 3 because it gave you 2 tickets, and that's exactly how much you needed.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah,
And then
we're-
you
say
hit
it right now.
guaranteed. And then times 2.
I think D3 should treat himself to a free multi right now.
Yeah, do it.
No,
Yeah, do it
multis.
right now. Do
Or
it.
just
Bet
one.
you won't.
Just one.
I
You wanna
won't.
do it?
You're
No
right.
balls. No balls.
I don't have balls, apparently. You're right.
Yeah.
See.
And then
This
also
is
the
what
thing
that
is
banner
with-
does to you.
Nope.
Yeah, with the current setup, you also get less units for more crystals, right? Because the old rotations were 3.7k, and I
Yep.
believe you got 48 units plus the ticket, and here you get 40 units plus you get a couple more tickets, but in
Yeah.
total it's still less units.
Well, you get four tickets for a full set.
Yeah, so you get 44 units as opposed to I think 49, where you have 5% chance in those 49 though.
Yeah. It is just
What do you guys think
a
of
little
the
pricier.
the actual top grossing reward of 1,000 though? Because obviously hit Japan, which is a big deal. Do you think
Yeah.
we should have got anything else with it as well? Because it's not.
I
It
don't
doesn't seem
think-
like a lot. Does it?
I don't think 1,000 crystals is bad, but I would have also liked to see a little bit of those 40 million download
Materials.
medals given out, just as like a little
Yeah.
bit of an extra.
Some
Yeah.
medals,
Energy, skip
yeah.
tickets.
Energy,
souls.
A
loads
little
of
bit
that.
extra, but yeah, 1,000 was fine for me, honestly. It gave me a multi. Still got shafted, but hey.
Bro, just pull Broly. See the problem?
I mean, I'm surprised that they didn't just give us 10 GSP tickets on
Yeah.
on like one of those banners, and they called it that. I like giving us like the 1,000 was nice.
If
Oh, no, they were gonna give
if
it
this
1,000.
yeah, if this banner let me just say, if this banner, like, you see how we can accumulate 10 or 10 tickets or more for like the consecutive summons for the banner. If they had it so where like, all right, you got 10 tickets, if it guaranteed, like, if they increased the value of like those units, if you have 10 tickets, like, I think I would have been fine as well with that too. What do you guys think about that?
Better rates if you did a multi.
Yeah, instead of like the singles. You see what I mean? Like if like it's 10, you get basically a multi, right? Or basically 10 tickets. So if you have that option, if they increase the rates on that alone, do you guys think it would have been a little better, or like, nah, it doesn't matter?
Sounds
would've
to me
been-
like you're anti free to play, Bebop.
Yeah,
Yeah,
people
right.
would have been upset. That's 2.5
Bet.
rotations right there for 10 tickets.
Yeah. All right.
Alright, so I
it's
think-
a great time to start Legends. Absolutely. Like right now,
Yeah.
you have such a good value. You're guaranteed to get multiple sparking. This is probably the best. Shut up, Zahal. This is the perfect time. I thought you said that would be awful. Like he's referring to. Stop. Never mind. Zahal, carry on.
Apparently, you can get about 90,000 CC too if you start up and you just clear out the story. You can get about 90,000 CC just from doing story stuff.
I'm currently doing it on a second account, and I got 2k crystals as soon as I done my tutorial. So I guess for rerollers, it's quite good. You can just do 2 multis and 2 tickets, and I farmed about 25k in the last 2 days now. Story, so it's quite good for people who start off now.
Something else I want to point out, what's cool is if you complete the story, you get those Saiyan units. So like you have literally starter pack teams to use.
Yeah,
Back in my day when we started the game, we were just tossing them together. You were just you were tossing whatever you had together.
You get those 10 tickets every day now when you log in for the first time.
Rhyme, you sound old now.
Back in my day, you got EX Blue Goku from PvP.
The one you can buy one of the units.
We learned the hard way.
Zahal timed out Ryan.
They got it easy.
Okay, I think that's a good time to go to the break. So, guys, we're going to move over to the questions after the break. So, remember, if you want your questions in the podcast, keep your eyes peeled either for the questions thread on Twitter on Friday before the podcast, or join our Discord. There is a dedicated text channel for questions for each of the podcasts, and we will pick the questions the same day of the podcast usually. So make sure to keep your eyes peeled, follow us on all our social media, and on the break, maybe it's a good time to check out all of our creators. We'll see you in 3 minutes. All right, welcome back, everybody. I hope you checked out our creators or you got yourself a beverage. We are going on to the questions right now, and the first question comes from our Discord from Luigi Q asking, what do you guys think is the most underrated and overrated unit in Legends? And I'm going to head it over to Rhyme as a guest first.
Most underrated and overrated. Oh my god, that's a good question.
It's like only like 400 units. Have fun.
Yeah. Oh, holy shit. Most underrated, like of all time.
Just for you. Just for you.
Yeah, just your opinion. Screw it. Of all time.
It's overrated. I don't even know I honestly don't even know how to answer that.
Okay. Anybody else?
I feel like it's very.
Here's my problem with a question like that. I think everything is so well balanced right now, and everything that's really really good is good for a reason. I don't know how to answer that, to be honest.
No, I feel like the question is a little weird because like there are some that I feel like aren't underrated or overrated because like I would consider I was gonna say Zenkai Gohan overrated just because everybody uses him, but I mean he's obviously the best unit in the game, but I don't know.
I could list one of the most underrated units in Legends right now. I would say that potentially Buhan could deserve a title like that because ever since Fat Boo came out, you'd never see Buhan in the field anymore, but he still can do some pretty good work, mainly making good plays off the bubble shields and his blue card. But he's still, if you're a free-to-play player, you can't Zenkai Fat Boo, but you really want to run Regen, you could still get away with Buhan and have success.
I have an answer, actually. I think Hit's still underrated.
I think not enough people love the transforming God Vegeta.
He's so good. He's really
a little
good.
underrated.
He's good.
He's a little underrated. I agree to that.
I have a few answers to this. I think all the ones that are underrated are like the green Bardocks, the purple Brolys, the IT Gokus, all the ones that people are like, oh, I wish he got a Zenkai. When in reality, if they did, the game would be like literally unplayable.
Yeah.
What about overrated? What do you think? What unit can you not?
I don't even know, like, because how would you even consider a unit overrated if they're not busted?
I don't mean to be like spicy, but I think there's enough counters in the meta. I have 0 issues with yellow 18.
I would say yellow 18, but like I said, I've only fought her like once.
But like, I'm not saying she's not S tier. I'm not saying she's not top dog. But everybody talks about her like she's the boogeyman right now. I'm like,
you know what? Actually, I do have an answer. Champa's underrated. Champa is underrated. People skip that banner and they regret it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can say Champa's overrated.
You know who's overrated? PyCon.
Oh.
Get him out.
I think. Which one? The yellow one, right?
No, the red one.
I would say
I guess,
underrated units right now. Like no one, you probably wouldn't have thought about them at all. The Danger de Trios when they first came out, no one wanted to touch those banners.
True.
Yeah.
And now like they're almost like essential for if you want to run that like universal
Rival
saga
universe
team.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
I don't know about
Some of the-
overrated.
Some of the GT units too are underrated.
Yeah, I agree with that. Actually, a GT. Actually, there's some units on there that are relatively solid. Just the team has no synergy at all.
If Baby ever got
I'll
a
say
Zenkai,
underrated.
that would
I'll
be
say
terrifying.
Zenkai Bardock is my underrated, and everybody knows he's really good, but people like sleep on him hardcore, and it's like, bro, he tanks like a monster.
Yeah,
I go
would be
Zenkai
surprised.
Bardock. I go.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's Zenkai Baby next month because Baby's coming out in Fighters.
Ooh, that wouldn't be bad. That would
I
actually
hope
be really
not.
good for
Oh,
GT.
Wait,
That'd be
no,
horrible
no,
for
no.
regen.
That's one of those things that we don't want to come back is the endless healing.
No.
Wait,
Like
you
that's
know,
what Vados is doing, but at
going
least you can
off-
pop Vados.
going off that logic,
It's overrated.
Going off the logic Rhyme just said, then Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta could fall in line roughly with the game's anniversary. Because they've announced Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta for Fighters 2. He's going to obviously come out a few months after Baby, which lines up with March, June, maybe, then
It
Legends
could,
like Manny.
But something I do want to toss out there is a lot of times when you see coincidental releases, it is a coincidence. Like PyCon coming out and Dokkan and Xehanort at the same time was not planned. And even like a year ago when they released, I forgot what was released, but something came out on
Gotenks
Dokkan.
and Kefla.
Yeah, that also was not planned. It just happened to like coincide at the same time.
So there's no Toei and Shueisha higher up that's like, okay,
No.
guys, for this month, we want to generalize the content around this set of characters.
No,
how about
literally
it?
every time it's ever happened, it's been a coincidence. Also, someone in the chat made a good point. 1,000 Days is coming up as well in February.
Yeah.
Do you think
Yeah.
that Legends will do a similar to Dokkan and give a free LF,
Absolutely.
1,000-day LF?
Well, I don't know if it's gonna be
That's
1,000
fair,
day
Paul.
LF, but it's gonna be something, and it's gonna be interesting because you're obviously gonna get the people who'll be upset because they didn't get it, but the ones who've been playing since day one, and be like, hell yeah, like me and Donnie getting that shit like day one.
Yep.
Actually,
I just want that
Donnie's
Spirit
like
Bomb
2 weeks ahead of me,
Goku.
so he's gonna have it before me, but still.
Yeah, I'm like,
I'm gonna
Zenkai
make-
that Spirit Bomb Goku for that.
The rare metal
Alright,
shop one.
I'm going to add one
Yeah.
last thing to this question. It might be a little bit controversial, but I'm going to say one overrated unit is Yellow Vegito. And one underrated, slightly underrated. I'm not going to say this guy's like crazy, but I think a little bit underrated is LF Majin Vegeta.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can
He was
I-
done
I-
pretty
I-
dirty.
He still has
Elf Majin
Releases
Vegeta
right
was-
after, but he's
his-
still really good.
His
That
strike
was the
attack is
only
crazy.
unit that came out that I was super hyped about, and like literally a week later I forgot about, and I don't know why.
Yeah.
Because like everything about that card is great, and Vegeta
He
family, I
got
feel like
buried. It was more, I guess. I don't know if a banner came out after or like just the team itself, Vegeta family was just getting
Wasn't
buried
it-
under. Like
Wasn't it
just
Goku Black to transform in Goku Black came out after him?
Yeah,
And Cell.
that's why.
Or-
That's
sorry,
why.
Cell, because
it
Cell
got
came out with
buried.
Majin Vegeta. He was just better, right?
Yeah.
That red cell is stupid.
And then,
It was-
and then immediately after Gohan Zenkai's, right?
yeah.
Yup. So yeah, he got done very, very dirty. If Majin Vegeta came out at an earlier time, yeah, he would have still been like the talk of the time.
And then to make it more funny, like they were like, "Oh, let's Zenkai Bardock, let's Zenkai LF Goku. Let's just keep putting out these blue dudes, man."
The thing with
Forget about this.
the thing with
LF
Majin
we just
Vegeta
got.
is he has the degenerate green card, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a
I
good way
think-
to
No,
describe it.
that red cell. He's so after he dies and comes back, he's always one shot my blue units with a Rising Rush. Even if my opponent has 3 units left, like he's always just one shot blue units with a
He's one of
Rising
those-
Rush.
He's one of
This
those
is
dudes that got way better with this new battle version too, as well, with the
Yeah,
ability to switch
yep,
multiple
yep, the
times.
substitution.
Him and
Oh my
androids and all that
God,
stuff. But him specifically, he's so crazy because you can now just throw him out there whenever you want.
Yep.
It's ridiculous. So
All right,
yeah,
I think
that's what
that
killed
we-
Vegeta. So
Yeah. I think we can move on to the next question, and the next question is kind of similar, but not quite. So I think we can still, have a little bit of different discussion here, and that one's from Sukoi from the
Oh my god.
Discord as well. What unit do you think aged the best, and who aged the worst? I think let's keep it at that.
Not counting
Ooh.
Zenkai's,
Oh,
because that would be
I got
unfair.
an answer for that.
this
I got
one,
an answer
this
for
one's
that.
I
weird
got it.
because no. Let me say that this one's weird because what is the context here? Because aging, are you saying relative to their kit versus other characters in the kit, or like relative to the releases on their teams, because Yellow Cell, people say aged incredibly well, but that was really mainly because there was no competition for a slot. Same goes for the Blue Gogeta for forever,
all of that fits.
right?
But I got an
what's
answer
the
for you.
context?
I think Green
Golden
Frieza aged the best
God damn it.
by far.
Yeah,
Well, so, like,
Golden
that
Frieza
was
or
my
EX
answer,
Whis.
too.
And you know what's
Yeah,
fucked up?
those are going to be my answers. But like, I think if you're going for the other side of the coin, where they were relevant for the longest, it's because they didn't have competition for their slots on the teams.
That's true.
But I think Golden Frieza can still slot up on a team. He might need to be
Bro,
high
the
star,
fucked up is,
but he
I
can
feel
shred you to
like
pieces.
If he gets a Zenkai, which he inevitably one day might get, that's gonna be so terrifying. And you know what? I'm here for it. Hold his.
I think of the Blue movie Fist too when I think of the absolute worst unit.
Didn't we have the same question last week?
We did.
Not sure.
What would you guys say
we-
about Red Rose being aged well?
No, I'm going to give an answer that probably none of you would say. I'd say the transforming movie Vegeta, the Super
I'm going to
Saiyan.
say the
he's so
transforming
good.
movie Trunks.
Yeah, that Trunks is still actually viable right now. I mean,
Yeah,
he's
my
got a
answer.
great support. The refresh on the hand is pretty powerful.
I got the perfect answer. I think Ultra Instinct Goku aged really well because we still use him 2 weeks later.
True, very true.
You're not wrong. That's sad, but true.
Yeah, lasting unit in the meta right now, I'm saying.
I think Piccolo aged the worst. He died on release.
Piccolo,
yeah,
Piccolo
dead
died because they were like, "Oh, let's just drop a Zenkai that's better."
Yeah,
than
but that's what I mean.
Yeah.
If
Nah, I
age
bet
is
you-
Talking about the
relevant-
LF?
No,
Yeah.
I bet you Piccolo is gonna get
Yeah.
the next Zenkai, and when he comes out with that, he's gonna be nasty because he needs it.
Nobody has
Does anyone even have him at 7 stars though?
I got him
got
like
him at
Dude, I'm
I'm
ready
like
to
12.
Not me.
I definitely
Nah,
pulled him
man.
a couple times in his banner.
Yeah, same.
I didn't even know he was on the banner.
He is?
Yeah, Broly.
Dude, I
got
had
him
no
from-
idea.
I got him from 2 to 6 star just on that stupid Broly banner.
This is the first time I pulled him.
All the Broly.
I legitimately had no idea, dude.
You
I got
could,
him
you
at 3 stars.
could, you could
Alright.
also
Oh,
throw.
he is. I just looked.
I
He
have
is.
another good addition to this who aged the worst, and this is aged the worst in the entire game of
LF
anyone.
Super Saiyan 3.
No,
Yes,
no,
LSO.
no. He was at
Yeah.
least somewhat usable when he came out. The
No,
the
he wasn't.
red
Don't
No,
start
he
this.
was bad on release.
red Majin Vegeta was the worst age unit. He was so
God.
bad.
my god,
No.
Dude, he aged so badly. He was out of rotation before he even released. With that,
Are we only counting Sparkings? Because if we're not, I'm going to say Kiro Tao.
Oh my gosh, nobody cared about it.
Red
So,
Majin
I-
Vegeta is one of the only characters, if not the only character in the game
That
that
hurts you.
debuffs your own team. Like
I'm looking through the list right now, and I have to say either Bootanks
Oh.
or Green Baby Vegeta.
Wait,
Green Baby
what about Green Mai as a unit that's still somewhat viable? That
I thought she was
standing
really
the test
good.
of time.
That was my
She
answer.
needs
That was my
a
answer
Zenkai.
last week when they asked the same question. Was Green
I think
Mai
it
was the best
time-
aging unit?
Timeless unit, yeah. I just checked. That was
I
the
wouldn't
last
mind
You
one.
his
could
Zenkai
still
with
use
Mai.
Mai today, and she'd be really good for what she's made to do.
Yep,
Right.
If she got a
He also
Zenkai, that'd
guard-
be busted.
Yeah, that'd be too good.
I'm here for it.
I
What
was gonna
about
say,
Super Saiyan
also-
Gogeta?
Donnie,
The
I
old
sent
one.
you a DM on
He aged
Twitter.
well.
All right.
I
Okay,
really
I think
want
we
Whis
can-
to get a Zenkai.
I think we can move on to the next question since everybody.
Wow.
You guys like Bootangs?
Hell no. So the next question is from Twitter from D'Angelo Jones asking, do you guys think it was a good idea for Legends to give Gogeta Blue Fusions the ability at 6 instead of 2 star?
Depends on the perspective. Your side, no. Their side, yes. Because it's going to make people to pull more. That's the point. They always put the most hype Z ability the furthest away.
Yeah, I was
Always,
on
always,
purpose.
Yeah.
always.
But I like
Yeah.
the fact that they sort of emphasized, oh hey, you can really use him on movies. That's why this is his starting Z ability. I like that.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like what Ryuden just said, they literally gave UI Goku the last tag
Saiyans,
debuff with
right?
Saiyans. That's
Saiyans,
their-
yeah. Yeah.
I also think they
They're
were
trying
just
to
kind
finish
of
it.
afraid of people running both Gogeta and Vegito together.
yeah.
And then
Did
Zenkai
they do the
Gogeta
same
too.
for Vegito Blue?
Yeah. His
So what
last
was
one
his
was what?
6-star?
God Key?
No, it's first one is
no, it's
Fusion, I
first
think.
one.
Yeah, I think his last one's God Key.
Yeah, God Key.
Okay. That
No,
makes sense.
he gets
Yep,
God Key at
gotcha.
3-star, I think.
Oh, it's Future. Future is
Oh,
his
it's Future. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
Future.
third tag.
I
Yeah,
guess
you don't
they
have-
do
Future was
release
terrifying
the-
back then too.
Yeah,
That was,
Yeah.
the best,
yeah.
that was the best team in the game, yeah.
That was. So they do release like the hypest / like the most powerful tag at the time with the 6-star, like with the 6 stars. So
Fair enough. Okay. Next question is coming from Gori Homesh, asking, do you guys think that the current battle version is the perfect version implemented in the game? If not, what else do you think should be changed?
I don't think the word perfect should ever be used, but it is definitely the best one we've had so far.
I'm gonna drop a small bit of things, but again, the one thing I can't stand is Perfect Vanish.
Yep.
For 2 reasons.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is my problem with Perfect Vanish. One, it encourages scrubby play. And if someone happens to get lucky with that, you just die. Or 2, it's too inconsistent. So I would do 2 things to Perfect Advantage. Either 1, completely remove it out of the game, or 2, make it more, I guess, noticeable. Because the problem is, and I know D3, you always say that I pull off these, I always get Perfect Advantage and never even realize it. Most of the time, I don't know if I got a Perfect Advantage. And if I do get a Perfect Advantage, I think I got it, I don't have it. So what I would do either is 1, either remove out the game completely, or 2, add some kind of factor that tells you that you got the Perfect Advantage. That way you can at least kind of get better at it. Because that's the problem. It's too inconsistent. We don't know most of the time if it's even pulled off.
All right, so you can 100% manipulate Perfect Vanish. You can 100% control when it happens. Yes, you can. You can do it through time stop mechanics. You can also be on beat with your opponent. You can throw a tap blast, them automatically.
He's
put
saying
them on the right
a visual reference to let you
well,
know. That
you just need to know, and I think it's kind of like there's a green card glitch right now, air quotes glitch. I guess some people say it's not because you're technically queuing a tap attack after it. Mm-hmm. But it used to drive me nuts, man. But it was a learning curve, and I believe. I know it's spicy, but I believe Perfect Vanish can 100% be manipulated. I can call my shots and I can do it with it, and more than happy to share that.
See, but then
it is controllable.
Is the other problem you also have to deal with is lag. If you're in a lag environment, you definitely can't control it. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's factors in there that can make Perfect Vanish better as a mechanic. Because right now, the way it is dog shit.
I'm gonna ask if it's like actually intended to even be a thing. I don't know if it is.
It was.
I don't think
it
is.
absolutely was.
It was.
What?
It was.
Okay, what's the difference between your opponent getting lucky with a Perfect Vanish, or you throwing a tap blast and they happen to queue a blast card and they got lucky just throwing random crap at you? I mean, that one even sounds more potent.
Thing, right? It's still
no. They
based
still
on
have
what
the
your
vanish in
opponent
that
is
one.
doing. Yeah. But it's just saying you cannot 100% predict it because it's always based on what your opponent is doing, which you never can 100% predict.
Well, I mean,
so it's always a bit
prediction.
of coincidence, right?
Yeah, because when someone vanishes you don't swipe immediately. Maybe you wait, or maybe you should have swiped immediately because they went right away. Dang it, they got me, right? It is always a guessing game with you and your opponent. And Perfect Vanish is just the moment they guessed you right. That's it, man. That it all comes down to, even if they're just being that dill hole, swiping on their screen at the back of the stage, you fell for it.
I love that dill hole. That's a new one.
I just hate that it initiates like a very passive play style though. Like people will just sit back and just float back there the whole time waiting for you to do anything. Like you're just throwing tap attack trying to bait them and nothing's happening. And then as soon as you click that blast, it's instant. And then you're just stuck in a combo.
Vanish. The only people, the units that have guaranteed priority, like the cancerous green cards with the AoE and all that kind of stuff, those values will skyrocket because the only way to guarantee the hit will be those kinds of mechanics, like the paralyzed green cards. Perfect Vanish gives units that do not have those mechanics a way for them to guarantee a combo. Otherwise, you're just going to be in Vanish Legends 2.0, right? The moment they remove that, it's just swap. How fast can I swap?
So I'm kind of in the middle with this one. I used to be against Perfect Vanish because it felt so inconsistent, but I started changing the way I play a little bit in order to frame capture and prevent less Perfect Vanishes by being in the middle. But I have to agree with Rhyme where it gets so unbelievably frustrating is when you can't predict anything. You can't anticipate anything because it's very laggy and inconsistent. And PVs are unbelievably frustrating to have used against you when you guys are rubber banding. For some reason, your character or blast armor has like this gigantic atmosphere around him as he flies at you. Like all lag plus PV is one of the worst things to deal with in the game.
Yep.
That's what I
feel like
that's
if they add
like a really cancer.
If they add like a visual thing, if they are going to keep it, if they add like a visual thing that tells you like, all right, you got a Perfect Advantage, then you can again get more used to it better and kind of like actually figure out how to use it even in a lag environment.
At the end of the day, it's really just a guessing game, like with Perfect Vanish. Like you can definitely predict like when your opponent is gonna attack just based off their habits, based off, their rhythm. Like you can kind of gauge out how your opponent plays and whatnot. If they're too aggressive, then you can definitely initiate a Perfect Vanish. Like you can it's not that hard to get off, but it is like what Rhyme said, like the inconsistency behind it in general. Like even sometimes I don't like. There are times where I'm like, oh, I guess I did get a perfect vanish, but I don't even realize it, and especially with like a laggy environment, and it pisses me off. 'Cause, like, it just throws you off entirely.
So this
And I don't know, like maybe something like that would tell you, like what Rhyme said. I think that would be pretty cool.
Okay, so here's a question. What if they removed it on long range but kept it on mid range? Because yeah, I agree that perfect vanish is also a thing on mid range when the opponent uses a strike, for example. But on long range, it's kind of, it feels like it's
no,
mostly
it's the same
sensitive.
thing. Like one of the most common ways if you guys are trying to set up perfect vanish is Legends works in a queue system, right? If your opponent uses the time stop mechanic, but you've already put in the swipe, your character gonna jerk to the right or the left, right? At that moment that your opponent locks the time stop, if they locked in another card and you hit the swipe, you're going to 100% PV them as long as you're not already in an action. This can also be used in reverse on your opponent. You can just randomly use a time stop and lock in your own vanish. And then if they happen to use a card in the middle of your time stop, you will 100% PV them. There are multiple circumstances like this within the game where it allows you to manipulate your opponent and outplay them. You'll see this a lot with units when they kind of float up to your face and they immediately main ability and then they swipe. They're going for the PV because if you did anything in retaliation in that moment, they got you. This keeps going on, and I actually have a script listing it out, but there's like, a dozen plus circumstances you can force a PV, and I've got to say it's a skill at that point. You can know when it's going to happen. I can call my opponent doing it to me when I'm getting sucker punched, and that means my opponent knew it was happening and they outplayed me, and I just have to accept it.
I mean, I've had times where I've done that where I bait out someone's green card too. If they're using like UI or Majin Vegeta, you can swipe in and pull back without full sidestepping. So I mean, I guess it's kind of the same thing with that too.
Like the game almost has a beat to it, and if you got in the same beat, and you're both using Blast Arts cards and it's perfect into each other, and then one of you has to swipe and they keep going. I mean, you can keep going on, but the main way to force it is time stop mechanics.
Correct me if I'm wrong too, which I very well might be, but I feel like I've noticed this. But when you pull off a perfect vanish, is there not like an extra blue aura and a lot more like blue effects on your character's vanish than if you don't perfect vanish?
That's just mere coincidence. That's just what happens when you get it. It's not just like, oh, like that means you got it. Like that's more or less since perfect vanish, it just means that you're vanishing before the animation occurs, right? So you have more time to see yourself vanish out, but that doesn't mean anything. It's just
like I felt like I noticed that, but I didn't.
There's no particular effect if that's what I'm trying to say. Like there's no there's no thing that indicates you definitely got it. Yeah, it's not a visual per se.
This is Prof's reasoning is why I'm in a middle ground, because he is right in that because it can be manipulated and timed and worked against, because you can control it to some degree, you can argue it is a skill and something that can change the tide of the fight in your favor if you know what you're doing. But the reason why I can't definitively say I really like this mechanic or I don't like it is just because there are so many other variables outside of just being able to time and manipulate PV and so many influences on it that I don't know, especially with lag being a huge factor into it. That's why it's up in the air for me. Too circumstantial, I feel.
This is a good question. This is a really good discussion.
So one thing I would, aside from perfect vanish, one thing that drives me nuts is still that they remove tap tackle clash. So when someone tackles me and I have no vanish, I know and my hand is full of blast cards, I cannot do anything. And I still have that muscle memory of hitting the tap punch where it used to clash. And I get to hit so many times.
That was a weird change. They really tried to make it.
Yeah, I really don't like that. I really don't like that at all. Like if I wish that I can still backdash tackles because that used to be a thing. But now this guy is a fucking football player who just launches 30 yards at you if you even backdash and still catches you.
So the one thing I hate is the window of time for a strike card to beat a tackle is too long. How many times have we done a tackle? Your guy is in the face of this dude, shoulder checking him. He's standing there.
Yeah.
And then he pops a strike card and he still wins. You're like, what?
Yeah. You're just hovering over him for ages.
Yeah.
You guys are tackling,
So weird.
I try not to tackle for that reason alone.
I hate it. It makes
I don't tackle either just because I don't want to get beat on it.
The only
Yeah,
thing, the only
but
time I
I
ever tackle is when it's super obvious your opponent is waiting to bust his rush on mid range, and you
Yeah,
just dodge
that's when I tackle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the only
Yeah.
time I ever tackle is when I'm already immediately going to swipe out of it. So I'm never following up after a tackle because you're anticipating your enemy, at least at high level play, to immediately counter it with a strike anyway.
Yeah.
So like you always have to dodge out of it anyway. So
I see in the comments people saying that they're positive of that, but the thing is I feel like I think that's the one thing that's way too forgiving in the battle system.
It really is.
You not being on time to beat out the tackle with a strike card ahead of time, you having that much window is too forgiving. You just didn't time it right. You should lose. My tackle should beat you
Yeah.
because I got to you first. You just took too long to react. You should lose that. But the game is like, wait, go ahead, Timmy. I'll give you the time. And then they beat you.
Red cards
don't worry
have
about
like
it.
tackle armor where they're almost immune to tackle, right? Like,
It's just too forgiving. Like if you didn't time it right and my tackle is already touching you while you're standing there, I should win it. But there's just the window's too big. It's too forgiving. That's the only mechanic in this game where you have this huge window to do that. It's the only mechanic in the game.
in before
That's my only
Raven's name
gripe.
is Timmy.
I wish they added another feature like tackle. Like I feel like that would spice things up in PvP. Other than that, like my gripe with tackles will still remain the same. Like if the battle system that we have now, and the tackle system that we had before, if that was like mixed in together, I would have no complaints about it. Like I'm not gonna be cliche and obviously talk about lag and I guess the inputs and stuff, but besides that, like PvP as a whole with the generic system behind it, it's fine. Like it's honestly fine. I didn't know I would like this cover change system at all. Because at first that shit sounded scary. It sounded like a bad idea.
I was afraid of that shit.
I did not like it at all. But now I'm like, okay, I understand why they did it, and I understand now
it's
it feels
great.
much
I
more.
wish we
It
had
is.
it day
It's really
one.
Oh
good.
yeah, because there were so many times where you're forced to just give up a character. Your
Yeah.
character
Yeah.
just gets blown up.
and
And now
if you
can-
make the wrong like say for example you play against somebody that tries to predict what you do, and say
Yeah.
they switch into their blue right when you are going to go into your red to cover for their yellow, right? It's like, oh well, this dude's just dead.
Bro, yeah, that's
Yeah.
why I feel like if we had the double cover change when Vegeta Blue came out, even then it would have been more fair with the character.
To
Yeah,
me,
I
it makes
agree.
sense
Yeah.
that you can change multiple times because, like, naturally, because offensive players can switch 3 and a defensive guy can
Yeah.
only switch 1, defense loses by default. It's just weaker. Didn't make sense anyways.
It also, I know this game's not a competitive fighting game, but it brings this game more in line with something like Dragon Ball Fighters or Marvel vs. Capcom, which are the same mechanics, right? It's a 3 versus 3 fighting game. You can swap your characters out freely, but once you swap, then they have a timer where you can't just immediately spam them over and over again, right? So
And defensive units are actually valuable now too.
Beyond the
Yeah.
value
Yeah.
of defensive units and all that, it's kind of nice being able to play the game when your opponent's comboing you. Because before you just kind of put your phone down and wait for them to stop.
Yep.
But now you're kind of thinking, okay, let him do a strike card. Now I go, oh, he did a blast. Crap, I didn't miss it. You know?
Yeah. Well,
So,
yeah.
You can try again.
It's one of the things that made Vegito Blue and Kefla so annoying to play against.
Yep.
It's like, dude,
Yep.
I just put my phone down for a minute. It's okay.
Yep.
Yeah, just get
And
a
then they're
combo.
gonna
Like if you
rush
made the
again.
wrong move, that's it. Yeah, just leave. Just go take a nap.
But one thing
Yeah.
that this battle system also remedied, which was just mentioned in the chat, is that feint didn't drop combo. So you switched, you got feinted, you could not switch again.
Yeah, you were done.
So I
Oh,
think that
yeah.
was actually
Yeah.
a big help.
That is a very big help indeed.
Yeah.
All right, I think we have time for maybe one more question. And that one, I don't know, it's kind of interesting one. It comes from HeySource on Twitter.
That was a good
asking,
question.
Do you guys think the Red Star system is more of an issue than the Zenkai system? So I think we can rephrase it asking which one's the
Oh,
bigger
God.
issue.
No.
Zenkai.
Zenkai 100%.
No, not even
It's
close.
yeah, Zenkai's
It's not even
worse.
close.
The
We
Red
could honestly
Star,
go on to
Red
another
Star
question.
system is actually a blessing in disguise because
Yeah,
it
it's-
sucks more at first, like when units are first coming out. But this is a long haul game. Like when you're 2 years down the road, it gives value to
Yeah.
continuing to pull some of these same units where you're otherwise just be like, oh, this bull crap again. Like no, like
Let me remind people of something that they didn't experience. So back in year 1, I know me and Deefy always made this joke. Once you got a unit to 7 stars, you're like, oh, well, fuck it. When I mean
Yeah.
7 stars, I'm talking about like when you get to 3000 Z power, because any unit you pull after that did not fucking matter. And
Yeah,
most
it doesn't matter.
players probably didn't experience that because you never really got that high. But like, let's say in theory you got that high, and you got to the point where you're pulling units after you reach 3000 Z power, it didn't matter. You literally weren't getting anything for it. Now, at the same time, I didn't think it was necessary. I was like, if they buff it and add, how they added the Red Star system, I didn't think it was necessary. But at the same time, at least you were getting something. Because like, imagine you pull a unit so many times and now it doesn't matter. Like, you know that in between period where you pull something and it just fills up your bar, but you don't get a star out of it. That was a waste of a pull. Yeah. Now it actually gets something out of it.
Beforehand, because you're still at this point that you've reached, especially, you're getting 600 of those stupid Z medals, right?
Well, that was the worst thing too, because the shop was trash.
Well, the shop, the shop is still trash, I guess, kind of. But
yeah,
the thing I saw is that the extra Z ability was like, what, 2% increase, 3% increase? It was like a cherry on top.
For like 17 extra dupes or something.
It feels like you have to hit the 3,000 point to start being relevant. And then the people that have above and beyond that are, people used to summon for 4-star. That was a thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like 5-star, I think, started with the Goten and Trunks when you needed that Z ability.
Yeah.
And so I'd say the ceiling is much higher now, unless the Chrono Crystal rate has just gone up that much.
Someone said it destroyed balance. I agree and disagree. The only balance that was destroyed is literally having 2 to 3-star teams versus like 14-star teams. If you're in the middle, like for example, I always see this. This is my favorite kind of comment. Someone will send me like they'll be facing off with like a fully 14-star team, but then their team will be all 7 stars. Like, yeah, I beat a whale. I'm like, but that's not that big of a difference. Number one, you outplayed them. And 2, that's not that drastic of a difference. The big balance that's destroyed here is the lower end versus the higher end, which doesn't happen as often as you think it happens.
Like 2-star versus
like
14-star.
If you're a 2-star team, how often are you running in a 14-star team? If you say every fight, that's cap. That's fucking cap.
No,
well,
unless you're pushing for top 1,000.
You run into 14-star Zenkais constantly.
Yeah, I just don't think it's as bad as it was upon first glance. Especially relative to the Zenkai system. I think the system has aged better than I think people want to admit.
Like, the thing is none of us enjoyed Red Stars, but the problem is a lot of times people use Red Stars as a crutch for why they lost.
Yeah.
I think Red Stars makes the PvE more exciting, and it makes the general game more exciting to keep summoning units. And the PvP.
Well, that was Red Stars when they first got introduced was scary.
They gave us LBR. Like, we can't honestly complain about this. If you want to be competitive, you can host a tournament and do it now. Like, I think overall, Red Stars is good, and that's coming from someone that just wants to PvP all day. But especially with multi-Z power, you can really commit to a unit and finish them. It's fine.
That's another thing is people ignore the multi-Z parts. I'm like, you do realize that's a thing. Like, it's there. I think
it takes a while, but it was added for this to help free players to close that gap.
Yeah.
I think the problem with Red Stars is the community overall pushed it as such a bad thing that it's stuck to being as quote unquote this evil thing when all reality there was other issues in the game.
Yeah, I think the Red Stars really only, like y'all were saying, they really only become like a really noticeable effect with the Legends limited units, right? Because they're so hard to get. But outside of that, for all the other units, it's really not that big of a deal.
Yeah, and I'll extend that negative stigma to Zenkai as well, because as you mentioned earlier in the stream, Rhyme, I genuinely only think the Zenkai issue stems from a handful of units.
Yep.
There's like over 20, and only a couple of them get talked about, you know?
Exactly.
Because the other ones are normalized to the rest of the game, and there's a few outliers, and those are the ones that like give a whole rap.
Literally, Zenkai isn't bad. What's bad is the 3 units that got super, super buffed up because I don't know what they were thinking.
Also, what's bad is the conditions for players that can't meet them, even though they've improved them, I guess. But you get the point.
Well, I think
I like the fact that they added the ability where anybody can Zenkai, like, Gohan, for example, if they have them at 7 stars. Like, they did balance it out a lot.
And then they added the pack to where you can get it. Like, they've been trying, I guess.
Yeah. Bro, the first
relative
time
to them spending or still generating money, I mean.
I think it cost me 21,000 crystals for Beerus and then like 18,000 for Cooler. Like, the change in Zenkai between day 1 to now is ridiculous.
Yeah. Value is way better now.
It always has had a bad stigma and still does. So when people see Zenkai, they're like, "Oh, this is terrible." But I'm like, no, it's pretty accessible now. Like, again,
there's a lot of free ones too.
You can get to the point where you can, either get the free ones or you can literally guarantee a Zenkai at like 6,000, 7,000 crystals, or you can take the 6,000, 7,000 crystals to put it into banners and pull nothing.
No, you know, you can get a meta character like SS3 Goku. Say that his packs are open, right? Where you can get the Z power for him, the 3,000 or whatever, and then you can still, that's only like 2,000 CC, right? And then you can still turn around and throw another handful of thousands of CC and then throw those into the Zenkai banner and walk away with a uber top tier character, which is far better value than trying to throw those versus, you know, an LF at 2 stars. Right. You're probably not going to get anyway. I mean, I get it's a gotcha and people may not want to play that way, but that's an option.
Well,
the
what
other
would you
problem
guys?
is, I was gonna say the other problem is a lot of people compare Zenkais to Easy Ace, which is not what they are at all.
Oh my god!
Like
I
Easy
told
Ace
people that a lot.
is an event in Dokkan that gives you 30 stones and then you power up an old unit. That's not what Zenkai was ever meant to be in Legends.
Yeah. Well, it's the same core concept, but it's not meant to be the same. That's the thing that people struggle to understand.
I was gonna say, what would you guys think if so you guys know how they did the Gogeta event for him, and they gave you multi Z power and everything to get him closer to 7 stars and stuff. What would you think if like at the end of that they put like a little Zenkai stage where it gives you like Zenkai 1, and they bring back the free Zenkai?
For the record, I want to with Gogeta's. Didn't they do a different pack for him to where you still get Zenkai 1 in his pack?
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, with the
1,850 or
if you
1,100.
pause it.
You got like
Yeah,
one
with
and a
the
half
pack.
Zenkai levels, and then like 2,000 or 3,000 Z power with that.
That's kind of almost what you're saying. I mean, it's not directly free, but it's still pretty good.
Yeah, no, definitely.
I
think Bardock had that too, didn't he? I'm pretty sure.
No, I think
but I think that's a
I think
sum of-
Gogeta was the first. I mean, I don't have to buy the pack, so I don't know.
I would agree with someone in chat who brought this up a little bit earlier, like 5 minutes ago while we were all talking, that not including the outlier Zenkais that caused the problem, of course, we always have to preface that, but they said that the equipment rerolling system and the equipment system in general is worse than both the Red Stars and Zenkai, and I actually kind of agree with that.
Trust me, I went in last night.
Horrible.
I went in last night on that call. Please.
Wait, did you tell them to add a button to auto sell items for the love of God?
We actually did. we did. We talked about having like there should be something that's like if you pull something that's like E rank or something that automatically sells. I don't know what they're gonna do because I also found out shit. I don't know if I can say this part or not. I'm gonna say this. There's a lot of legal issues for certain things they can and can't do in regards to systems that are set up in place because surprisingly, like certain companies hold patents over certain things. I know it sounds so fucking weird, and that's what's keeping certain things from being implemented in games like this. Not just in Legends, but overall across the board. I'm not even kidding.
Like the internal structure, like you're not allowed to have a certain item selling mechanic because another team has already copyrighted that for the game. Wow, that is
it's
dumb.
ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Oh, you're talking about like
Genshin can come out and look exactly like Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, but it's like other games will own like certain like mechanics in the game or trademark certain systems, and then they have to work around that basically.
Yeah.
It'd be nice if you could reroll that first slot. I would hope that that's something they introduce, being able to reroll your first slot. Because sometimes you roll like
or at the very minimum, being able to reroll the first slot on awakened equipment.
Yeah, awakened.
No.
that would
I
be
think that's
nice,
the whole
please.
point of buying the items and going. Like they're gonna have to. Now they've designed it that way. I would never see them changing the current system.
You know, one item that I think they could release that, like, all right, so we have all these multi-Z powers, right, that are scaling value associated with them based on how much they give. Tell Toshi and Akala to put, like, a golden eraser. I mean, it can be super rare, but when you use the golden eraser, you're guaranteed at least 0.1% better. Like, it can't roll down, basically.
You know what? I feel like if they ever do something like that,
I would say
people are mad, but you know what? I'll take it. At this point, I'll take it.
What they need to do is introduce a consumable item, because this is all the other games do, that protects your roll if you would. And you re-roll it, and if it goes down, then whoop-de-doo.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. A golden eraser, just guaranteed.
No, you're wanting it to go up.
It can only go up by 0.1. Like
I asked directly if we could get an item like that, and I specifically compared it to Grand Cross, how they have those hammers, and they were very interested in that idea. So that could very much be on the way.
Well, let's hope for the best.
It could be rare. It could be harder to get, but it guarantees you just any type of better roll, which is basically it guarantees that what you said, Prof. Like it guarantees you're not going to get screwed protection, right?
Well, and then here's the other thing is there's already, you can see the other tiers of items we haven't even seen implemented into the game. The items that we currently spend our chrono crystals now, just like units, they will be power crept. So mechanics like these really just let people build the teams they want to build now. I can't see it as a negative for the game.
Well, no, the only negative is that you can spend infinite time re-rolling it and it just gets worse and worse each time.
All right, I think we got to the equipment system from the Red Star system, and I would like to wrap the podcast up here because we've already been on for quite a while, and it's been a wild ride. It's been very interesting having so many people here. So first off, I want to thank everybody who came on today: Bebop, Brad, D-Free, Dr. Malt, Dragon Ball Joe, Goresh, Nas, Prof, Rayuden, and Rhyme. So make sure that you check out all of our creators on social media: Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. Do the same thing for 59 Gaming. My bad. We have a Linktree where you can follow us everywhere, and definitely check out our Twitter. We have another forum out for fan-made Zenkais. This time it's Vegeta Family. This podcast will air on YouTube, premiere on YouTube in 24 hours. And with that, I hope you all guys have a happy new year, and we will see you all in a week from now.
Before the final goodbyes, wanted to say thank you, Dark Dash 101 for the 59 bits, Ausman for a few bits as well. We appreciate both of y'all. Well, good supporters of the channel. Thank y'all. But from there, I guess everyone could say their goodbyes if they want.
All right. Well, see you guys. Appreciate you guys, and shout out to Rhyme for blessing me. Stike.
The only thing I was gonna say is Bebop, just pull Broly, man.
Fucking all right.
Just do another multi.
All right, we're gonna have fun
One
swinging
more
after
multi?
this. After show party gonna be wild.
Bebop, don't succumb, man. Don't succumb. Dino is the worst peer pressurer ever. Don't do it.
That's a lie.
What do you mean? He told me to do one more multi on VB, and I pulled VB. So you know.
There you
Oh, well,
go.
you got
There
lucky.
you go.
You got,
All right, guys.
Rush did it too, and it happened too.
We've been doing it for years. This dude used to make me buy cards and all that stuff. And I was like, wait, hold on. Let me stop messing with him because he's horrible.
Hey, never forget that Hunter x Hunter Battle All-Star arc. That was probably worse in that game than anything else.
Throwback.
All right, y'all. Well, we'll catch you on the next one. And special thanks again to Rhyme and D-Free for making some time to show up here. Hopefully, we can have y'all on again sometime soon.
Sure. Thanks for having us.
Yep.
Hey, thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
Later, everybody.